I have to admit, I have a whole lot of fun with those comments on the intro. Guys, welcome in on a holiday. Well, if you're in these United States, you're having a holiday Monday, Memorial Day here in the United States. A lot of people choose to take the day off. We did that. We did a lot of relaxing and recuperating around the house today. Got a lot accomplished, frankly, and but also put a show together for your enjoyment. So that way we didn't take a week off and then come back for a day and then take a day off. No. We'll keep moving. But anyway, welcome in. We've got a big show lined up for you after I get everything situated. I had a camera emergency right before I went on air. My dog sleeps on the other side of the desk during the day, and she bumped the tripod and the camera moved again. I got to figure out how to stop that because she's been trying to sleep on that side. And I fired up the camera to get ready to go live, and the camera was doing one of these things, and I was kind of looking like this, and I was like, can I do a show like this? And then I kind of moved it back, and then I was over here. I thought, well, I don't think I could do a show like this either. You know, I'm in a real bind here. So I had to move and swivel here at the last second. Guys, we got a lot to talk about today. I'm irritated by the nonprofit abuse. If I can be completely and totally honest, I'm irritated by the nonprofit abuse. I think they said 1.2, 1.4 million nonprofits in the United States. When they passed the Nonprofit Act back in the early 1900s, there were like 30 or 40,000 nonprofits. We've gone 40x on that, and our population has not gone 40x. It's gone like 4x, which means we have probably 10x too many nonprofits. And so when you encounter one and you start pulling on the threads of what does this nonprofit do? What are they actually accomplishing? Where are they getting their money from? Who are they paying? A lot of times you'll look and you'll say, well, something's terribly wrong here. This doesn't make sense. This isn't right. And I think we've discovered potentially another one of those today, and it has application to some scandal. When I do my opening today, it's going to be a little more free flowing than normal because I did not take the time to distill my notes into a coherent narrative. A lot of times what I do is I'll do a beginning and an end where I want to start the open, where I want to end the open. And then I will fill in some bullet points as I go, like how I want to transition, maybe some turns of phrase, maybe some few complete sentences here and there. And then I will turn that into what I want to say. I didn't do that today. I just left it in bullet point form. So it's going to be a little more free flowing than normal, but I will say this. It's a story that doesn't get enough attention. It's a story to me that's so unbelievably scandalous that it doesn't get enough attention. Think about the reality of what we do in the United States. We elect people, and there's only 535 of them that have any power. Well, congressmen. I mean, there's some outlying areas and they get representation, but they don't actually do anything. They don't get a vote. Like if you're the representative from the District of Columbia, you're just there to party, get a salary, get a spending budget and all that. You don't actually take votes, and it doesn't really matter. Same thing with the Samoan Islands and the Puerto Rico and all that. They're welcome to the party. They can come in, they can observe, they can listen, they can participate, but they don't have any voting power. The 435 congressmen, and that's not enough, by the way. If I had my way, we would have 10 or 12,000 congressmen. Try to buy all them off. We'd bankrupt AIPAC overnight if we had 10,000 congressmen. They wouldn't be able to defend 9,999 more seats against people like Thomas Massey. All hell would break loose. When the United States was founded, a congressional district was like 25 or 30,000 people. Like, you knew who your congressman was. You probably went to church with them, went to school with them. You grew up with them. Not so much here. I guess here in Tennessee, we have Marsha Blackburn in the Senate, and I did grow up with her son, and we played ball together. And, our parents, my mom knew, I guess now Senator Blackburn, soon I think to be Governor Blackburn. But it's not like it was back in the early part of the United States, where basically think about it, 30,000 people in New York City, that'd be like every few blocks would have their own congressman. It'd be great. It'd be fantastic. Instead of all of Wyoming having one rich guy, all of Alaska having one rich guy, you would have maybe 10, maybe 20, maybe 30. And you might actually know those people. They'd be from your neighborhood. They would, the rich guy from Jackson Hole doesn't have a lot to do with the guy from upper northeast Wyoming. They just don't ever cross paths. We wouldn't have to worry so much about gerrymandering and all that. I don't want to get into that. That's not the opening today. But I guess what's important about it is we elect people to go represent us, and that we give them tremendous power. They have the power to spend literally trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars. Our government right now, I think, officially on paper, $30-40 trillion in debt. It's an amount so mind-boggling, it'll never be paid back. We'll never be able to comprehend it. The only thing they can possibly do, and I think this is what's coming, is basically do away with the dollar. We'll switch it to some sort of digital currency, and then we're all in trouble, because if you say something wrong on YouTube or Twitter, they just turn your wallet off, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't spend it. They've already experimented with this by debanking people back during the last couple of administrations. So I think that's kind of what's coming down the pike. But before we get there, we elect these people, and they go and they spend trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, and they look the other way while the country goes to war, while the country does things that normally should trigger congressional response, congressional approval. They just ignore it. They just don't pay any attention to it. So the question has to arise: who are these people? Who are these people that we're electing? And particularly once you get to the very top. I mean, we like to talk about the president, and we examine every facet of Joe Biden's life and his son's life. And, he sat on this board, and he was on this Ukrainian gas board, and he kicked 10% back to the big guy. We discover all that. And then we look at the Trump family, and we look at, the sons are starting this capital group and that capital group, and they're in Bitcoin, and they're in publishing, and they're in radio, and the digital tokens and all that. So we talk about that. But just one or two layers down, these people are pretty powerful. And consider the Speaker of the House, the power the Speaker of the House has. No dollar can be spent in the United States, in theory, on behalf of the United States government. No dollar can be spent without going through the House of Representatives. That's where spending originates. If a spending bill originates in the Senate, it's invalid. It has to originate in the House. It doesn't get to the floor unless the Speaker says, okay, let's go. So there could be a lot of really good bills, but they don't get to the floor unless the Speaker sort of agrees. So who the Speaker is really matters. Right now we have a waif in there, a weird guy named Mike Johnson. He came out of nowhere. We'll look a little bit closer at his life tonight. But just a few years ago, it wasn't terribly long ago at all, we had a guy in there named Dennis Hastert. Dennis Hastert is an absolute catastrophe. He was born in 1942, so he is just on the tail end of what they call the greatest generation. Yeah, it's debatable. Just at the earliest of the baby boomers. They don't really start till the end of World War II. So he's born kind of in this in-between period. And he gets out of college, and he goes and he teaches at high school. He becomes a history teacher. And while he's there, he takes an interest in being a wrestling coach at Yorkville High School in Illinois. And because he was a wrestling coach, think about what a wrestling coach is and does. They've got to maneuver their boys into the right positions, and they got to teach them, no, you grab here, no, you grab here. It's an intimate sport at the least. It's kind of like, I was talking to Jesse from Jesse on Fire, and Jesse and Nate, all these guys are big into jujitsu, and it just looks to me like like a bunch of boys having too much fun in a San Francisco bathhouse. I mean, that's kind of what it looks like. I'm not judging. That's your business. But if I had to be honest, that's kind of what it looks like when you watch these things. And wrestling, for all its wonderful value, has a lot of intimate grabbing and holding. And Dennis Hastert was a coach. And so he had authority over the boys. He was able to interact with them on a very intimate level. This started in 1965. So from 1965 to 1981, 16 years, he was a wrestling coach. And while he was there, he's later admitted this, so this is not allegedly. I'll blanket the whole thing with allegedly, just in case one of these claims I'm about to make is just slightly off. But I don't think these are allegedly. I think he's admitted to all this. He had inappropriate contact. That's the best I can say, and let YouTube try to not get too weird about it. But he had inappropriate contact with at least 4, and there's a credible claim to a 5th young man, most of them between the age of about 14 and 17. And it was gross. Like, it wasn't mild. It wasn't like one of those where you're like, you brush up against somebody and they're like, hey, I didn't like the way you brushed up against me. No. These are things that took place in motel rooms, during trips, private settings, locker rooms, massage rooms. And it involved as much as you can imagine. Okay. That's all I can kind of say. It involved as much as you can imagine. It was tragic. And it It all came out. Well, how did it come out? Did it come out while he was a coach? No, not at all. Not at all. He would have never made it to Congress had it come out while he was a coach. In fact, it didn't come out for a long time. Because in 1981, when he leaves coaching, he actually goes and takes political office in the Illinois House of Representatives. One wonders who recommended him for this position. Who was it that said, you know who would be good having the trust of the community is the local wrestling coach who has a lot of interesting contact with local people, local boys. So he takes office in the Illinois House of Representatives. And then in 1986, the guy who was representing the congressional district there in Illinois, he gets sick and he can't continue. And so Dennis Hastert is put on the ballot for him. And of course, he goes into the general election against a Democrat and he wins because it's a Republican district. And so he's sworn into office there in early 1987, January 1987. And so from 1987 to 1994, he's just kind of a behind-the-scenes backbencher. Like nobody's looking to Dennis Hastert for leadership. He becomes sort of a reliable loyalist, but he's not like somebody in the trenches. He's not one of those people fighting day in, day out. He's not one of those people doing the Sunday shows. He's not one of those people's names you see in the New York Times. He's one of those congressmen that your average person on the street would never be able to name if you gave him 25 years to try to come up with a name. And $50,000 if they were able to guess a name. They would never get him. Most people would never get to Dennis Hastert. Nevertheless, despite being a relative nobody, passing no real significant legislation, not being the face of the party in any way whatsoever, in 1995, he becomes the chief deputy whip under a guy named Tom DeLay. A lot of you guys who've been around a while will remember the name Tom DeLay. Tom DeLay was a very, very powerful member of the House of Representatives, a Republican from Texas. And in 1999, just 4 years later in 1999, Dennis Hastert, a man almost nobody knew, rose in power to become the top elected Republican congressman in America. He became the Speaker of the House, the second in line to the presidency, the most powerful legislator in the land. The circumstances of his elevation now are a little ironic. I'll show you a brief clip here. I don't usually, when I'm opening, go into clips, but let me show you this here. House Speaker to be sports Israel, prayer in public schools. This is, again, January 1, 1999. No one knew who he was. Who is Dennis Hastert? That's the question Jewish activists and everyone else in Washington were asking last month after the six-term congressman from Illinois emerged as the consensus choice to fill the Republican leadership void. The void was suddenly created when Speaker-designate Representative Bob Livingston announced he would resign in the wake of revelations of marital infidelity, and then he was going to be elected Speaker on January 6th. It even mentions right here a former high school wrestling coach. That's what it led with when it gives his bio. A reputation as a consensus builder, a behind-the-scenes deal maker. But for the most part, little is known about the man who would be third in line to be the president. And that's the problem. Nobody knows anything about these people, particularly Dennis Hastert in that situation. What was it that made him so powerful? I would suggest, if I'm being honest, the answer was given to us the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Do you remember what happened the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner? A lot of times, they'll bring in a comedian to roast everybody, including the president. Well, Donald Trump is not going to allow that. He's a little thin-skinned, and that's fine. So they brought in this, I can't remember what they called him, this guy named Oz something. And he supposedly reads your mind or your body language. And he famously came up with Joe Rogan's PIN number that he'd never told anybody. He famously came up with, at the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the name of Caroline Leavitt's child. She's the press secretary. Came up with the name of the child. And he does this whole routine where it's like, hold on now. Just give me a random number. This is what he did to Joe Rogan. Just give me a random number, any number. And the guy's like, 2020. He's like, because you said that, I know the first number is 1, and I know the second number is 0, and I know the third number. It's an act, and it's dumb, and it's fake, and it's gay. The reality is he knew the PIN number walking in that day. The reality is he knew the name of Caroline Levitt's baby walking in that day. It's a front. It is a pressure technique. You cooperate with us because we know everything about you. We even know your banking PIN number that literally no one on earth knows. That's how powerful we are. That's what we know. So I would argue somebody knew Dennis Hastert was compromised. They knew his past, and they knew they could control him, and they did. They did. He was a good little boy while he was a congressman. That's why the backbencher that nobody knew and nobody had ever heard of all of a sudden is third in line to be president. The president, the vice president, the speaker of the House. That's the order. I guess second in line if something happens to the president. And then in 2007, he's the speaker of the House for a few years. 2007, Congress flips over and he leaves. He's no longer speaker of the House. He's now not powerful at all. And so it's interesting when after he leaves office, he's got this dirty little secret involving at least 5 young men. He's got this dirty little secret he's kept in deep inside. There's probably dozens or maybe hundreds or more. Who knows? But at least 5 came forward. That's a tough call for men to make, by the way. Most men are not willing to admit that something like that happened to them. And he leaves office, and then in 2010, he quietly begins paying off some of the victims. He agreed one guy identified as victim individual A. He paid him $3.5 million in hush money. That included $1.7 million in cash installments paid out over several years. It raises the question, how does a former high school wrestling coach from the 60s and 70s who became a public servant making a congressional salary, how did he accumulate so much money that not only did he have $3.5 million, I mean, don't do it if you're driving down the road, but raise your hand if you have $3.5 million laying around. Not a lot of Americans do. In fact, more than 60% of Americans don't have access to $1,000, could not get their hands on $1,000 in the next 72 hours. Those are statistics. Dennis Hastert, high school coach, public servant, has $3.5 million laying around extra that he can just pay people off. This is Dennis Hastert, former Speaker of the House. And so from 2010 to 2014, he starts structuring these withdrawals from the bank. Because you guys all know this, if you're here in the United States, if you withdraw more than $10,000, the bank has to fill out a form. It has to ask you basically, what are you doing with the money? And so if you structure with the withdrawals, those are also illegal. You're not allowed to do that to get around the reporting requirements, but sometimes you can get away with it. You know, if you want to go withdraw $18,000 and go buy drugs, for example, if you withdraw the $18,000, there's going to be a form. But if you withdraw 9 and 9, and then 2 weeks later you come draw another 9, probably going to fly under the radar. I don't recommend it. It's illegal. But that's just reality. Well, he later lies to the FBI. Former Speaker of the House, Dennis Hastert, then lies to the FBI about it. In 2015, he gets caught. He pleads guilty to 1 count of illegally structuring these bank withdrawals. And at the sentencing, crucially, in 2016, he pleads guilty to not only 1 count of illegally structuring bank withdrawals, but he also admits to why he was structuring the bank withdrawals. He admitted to the underlying abuse, and he said, I'm sorry for what I did. It was wrong. The judge even went so far as to call him a serial, 2 words, 4 syllables. The first one's 1, child, and then rhymes with polyester. A serial child polyester. And he sentenced him to 15 months in prison for the structured bank withdrawals. An unbelievably strict penalty for a structured bank withdrawal. And he fined him the maximum, $250,000. And then he put him on supervised release, and then he made him register as an offender, a intimate offender. So he reports to prison. The former Speaker of the House in 2016 went to prison. And he was released after serving most of the sentence. He served 13 of the 15 months, and then he goes to a halfway house. And he became, in the process, the highest ranking U.S. elected official in history to serve prison time. There were additional civil lawsuits. There was more payments. There were, other settlements and all that. But that's Dennis Hastert. That's the former Speaker of the House. And I remember thinking at the time, because I was naive. I was naive back in the day, guys. I admit it. I was naive. But I remember thinking when all this broke, how? Why? How did this fly under the radar? How did a guy with that much baggage arise to the highest levels of government? It's by design. It's by design. I want to take a look tonight at our current Speaker of the House. And there's two components of it. One is the guy's a weirdo. I don't want to say he's a weirdo on par with Dennis Hastert, but I wouldn't put it past him. And the second thing is there's a nonprofit component to this. And I'm so sick of the nonprofit abuse. I've been, we watch the planes that TPUSA flies around on. We look at their extravagant spending. We made nice sport last night about the fact that the only time Erica Kirk ever showed real emotion that I've seen since this entire ordeal started, this nightmare ordeal started 8.5 months ago, was when she had to give up her salary. When she had committed to paying her salary, she boohooed like a little baby. And so there's a component of this that has overlap. Because I'm so absolutely devastatingly sick and tired of the abuse. But first, I want to look at a summary of Mike Johnson's disclosures, because this is weird. This is weird. Now, remember Dennis Hastert, he was a high school coach, and he probably came in pretty destitute, but by the time he left, he had millions of dollars to pay off victims. I want you to look at a summary here. This is from Vanity Fair News Magazine. It's a summary of Mike Johnson's financial disclosures. As reporter Roger Sollenberger notes, it's unlikely Johnson literally does not have any sort of bank account and that he's like stuffing money in his mattress. Rather, the most probable explanation is the speaker lives paycheck to paycheck. And the money he does have in various accounts doesn't meet the reporting threshold set by the House Ethics Committee. Members must disclose any accounts at any financial institution that has at least $1,000 in them and a combined value of more than $5,000. While it's a fact most Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and that about a third of the world does not have money in hand to cover an unexpected $400 expense, when it comes to Johnson's, the numbers don't really add up. I'll show you what this guy's talking about. This is the most recent of these filings, but they all kind of fit this same pattern. This is Mike Johnson's one-page, basically, financial disclosure. It says he has no transactions, no assets, and unearned income. No assets, meaning they don't have anything. Not a house, not a bank account, not a retirement account. The guy's got nothing. It does say he has a home mortgage right here. But apparently he doesn't have any assets in it. And a personal loan and a home equity line of credit. There's a podcast suggesting he doesn't own a home anymore. I have a copy of that pulled up. I don't know if we'll get to that part or not. But there's a podcast he did recently, just a few months ago, and he said they sold the house, they just rent now. But there's this line right here. And so it's unusual, by the way. If we remember the last Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, did a lot of stock trades. She was a multimillionaire. The current Speaker of the House apparently does not. But there's this weird source of income. It says NA, spouse salary, Onward Christian Education Services, Inc. We'll look at that in just a second. A lot of you people are probably very confused why I'm going on about Mike Johnson. I'm irritated with the abuse of nonprofits, and I'm tired of putting creepy people in high levels of office because it's destroying this country. There's the easiest way I know how to say it. I want to take a look at it because I'm disgusted by it. The man claims the only asset he has is a non-interest-bearing checking account with just a few $1,000s in it. So how did a guy like that end up as the Speaker of the House? Well, I'll give you an idea of how he knows how to play the game. This is Mike Johnson in a podcast with his wife on the Katie Miller podcast. I have no idea why anyone would go on a podcast with Stephen Miller's wife, but here we are. This will be the dead giveaway of why he ended up in this position, or one of the ways he ended up in this position.
I hosted Bibi Netanyahu, Prime Minister, for a joint address to Congress, and that was a big evening for us and for me, and I was glad to host him. So I'm probably closest to him. Yeah.
What's the most underrated thing about MBS that nobody knows?
She's asking now about Mohammed bin Salman. He's the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Based on your experience.
His sense of humor. I mean, he's just a very engaging guy. And we had a forum today with the top Republican and Democrat leaders, both sides, bipartisan, the chairs of the various committees of jurisdiction. And he just wowed them. I mean, and my Democrat colleagues were leaving, and Greg Meeks, he wouldn't mind if I said this, from New York, Democrat, he said, he's really good. I said, yeah, he is. He is. So it was encouraging. We need that partnership between the two nations, and I think it was good.
Do you believe, because you just said Benjamin Netanyahu is a great world leader whom you've come to know, do you believe it is overblown, the schism in the Republican Party over the idea of anti-Semitism and those who are claiming one person is and one person isn't?
I wish we could put that aside, and I wish that everybody would acknowledge the importance of that relationship. And there, as has been noted, there are lots of scripturally based biblical reasons to support Israel. But even if you don't accept that, you have to look at this objectively and say it's really important to have that ally and partner in that corner of the world. And it's the only stable democracy in the Middle East. It's a tinderbox. So you can make all sorts of arguments of why this is a really important friendship and alliance. But the anti-Semitism stuff ought to be universally rejected and called out. And I'm very insistent about that. We got to love everybody, and certainly the Jewish people.
Got to love everybody, and certainly the Jewish people. The reason I wanted to pull that up, he may not be very sophisticated. He may not have a lot of money, but once he gets in power, he knows how to play the game. He knows what he has to say. He's going to go on Stephen Miller's wife's podcast, and he's going to tout the line. Oh, Bibi Netanyahu, best world leader. The question she asked him was like, who's the best world leader you've met? Oh, Bibi Netanyahu, the prime. He didn't even call him the prime minister of Israel. He just said the prime minister. As if he's our prime minister. It's neither here nor there. I want to play one more clip from this. I know this is a little strange of a thing. I want to play one more clip of this. This is Mike Johnson's wife answering this question about, this is only a 30-second clip. I want you to watch the body language. I want you to watch the body language when she reaches out to touch Mike Johnson. It's a very strange response. I was not expecting it. It weirded me out, and I will forever look differently at these people because of it. But watch this real quickly. This is her asking, this is such a dumb podcast, but whatever.
Often wrong about.
Oh dear, do we have enough time? No, just kidding.
Did you see that? She said, what is Mike most often wrong about? And she's like, oh dear, do we have enough time? And then he moves away when she reaches out to touch him. I'm gonna play it again. Watch it. It's a very weird response. And then I want to
things,
it's
small things. The big things, we are pretty much on the same page, but there are some small things that we disagree on for sure.
What's he most often wrong about?
Oh dear, do we have enough time? No, just kidding. How long something's going to take him.
watch his body language here while she's dogging him. Watch him look down, look away. He's leaning away from her. He flinched when she reached out to touch him, but watch his body language here while she's running him down.
Ooh.
I would say.
So she says I overestimate my ability to
He
accomplish goals.
overestimates his ability to get things done and underestimates maybe how much time it will take.
Okay, I got a question. And maybe some of you can answer this. I don't know. Why does she talk like that? I don't think that's her natural voice. I don't think anyone naturally talks like that. I looked it up, and it's something called the Fundy baby voice. The Fundy baby voice, sometimes called the Keep Sweet voice, sometimes called the little child voice. Term used online, especially in evangelical, fundamentalist, and cultural commentary critics for the soft, breathy, high-pitched, childlike speaking style common among some white evangelical fundamentalist Protestant women. Certainly not all. I'm not bad-mouthing any of you here. I know you guys don't talk that way, particularly in Southern or conservative Christian communities. That's the Fundy baby voice.
If I did a podcast like that, you guys would make fun of me.
Actually, I would have to talk more like this. You guys would probably not tune in to listen. But that's how she chooses to present herself to the world. Excuse me. So I come across this podcast and I look and I say, well, who is this woman? I've got to know who this woman is. And I find out because I think this woman can't possibly do anything in the world. Like, no one would ever want to be around this woman, right? No, that's not true. She runs a very powerful and influential nonprofit of all things. Imagine that. I want you to behold, ladies and gentlemen, that line item that was paying the salary that we saw in his financial disclosures. For one thing, look at the expenses here. I don't know if you see that. 666. So we know what kind of organization this is right out of the gate. This is the Onward Christian Education Services. This is the nonprofit run by Speaker Johnson's wife. I will note, it has been tax exempt since 2019. Well, that's weird. What year did Speaker Johnson become a congressman? Oh, that was 2017. Prior to that, he was a private practicing lawyer. He, worked for various organizations. We could talk about that in a minute. But he goes into public office and his wife opens a nonprofit right behind him. Well, surely that's all on the up and up, right? Well, let's just look at some of their expenditures over the years. So the first year they're open, this is the fiscal year ending December 2019, meaning he would have been in office for all of 2017, all of 2018. Then she opens the organization. They raise $59,500 and they pay her $50,000 of it. This is Kelly Johnson right here at the bottom. Kelly L. Johnson, Chief Executive Officer. She gets $50,000 of the $59,000 they raise. Well, what kind of nonprofit is this? You raise 60 and you keep 50 in your pockets. You'll notice here from the expenses, they only spent about $4,000 that did not go in her pocket. Okay, well, maybe that's just 1 year. They're just getting up and going. Who knows? Well, no. The next year, they raise $70,000. They spend $38,000, and of that $38,000, she made $35,383 of it. This is the current Speaker of the House's wife was raising a quick $70,000 while her husband is rocketing up the leadership of the Republican Party in the United States House of Representatives. He was on the leadership team by this point. They earn $70,000 as a nonprofit. They expend $38,000 of those dollars, and $35,000 of those $38,000 go into her pocket. Well, this is weird. Something's gotten really out of control here. Let's just assume that was an anomaly as well. Let's go to the next year here, 2021. They raised $62,000 from unnamed sources, meaning we have no idea were these overseas contributions, were these American citizen contributions. We have no idea, was this on the up and up? Was this somebody trying to influence legislation in front of the United States House of Representatives? We can't know because they don't disclose who gave the money. But they raised $62,000. They spend $52,000, and $40,000 right there at the bottom, $40,000 goes into Kelly Johnson's pocket of the $52,000 they spent. That's like 80%. It was 90% for the record. Now it's 80%. So it's going down. 2022, they raised $50,000. Amazing. Their expenditures are $48,000. Again, this is Kelly Johnson, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He was not Speaker of the House at this time. He was on the Republican leadership team. They raised $50,000 even, which means someone probably wrote him a $50,000 check. But we can't know that because they don't disclose the donors. Even though he's in office, even though you have to disclose all sources of income, they're able to shield it because they're calling it income from the nonprofit and not income from whoever donated to the nonprofit. It's very, very tricky here. But they raise $50,000. They spend $48,382 of it. So they almost spend the whole $50,000. And $36,667 of it goes to speaker's wife or the congressman's wife. So 37,000, we'll call it, of the 48,000 they spent went into her pocket. Then we go to 2023. Well, by 2023, he's now the Speaker of the House. Notice that they only raised 50 in 22. They raised 62 in 21. They raised 70 in 2020. So the donations are going down every year. 2020, 2021, 2022. They step down from 70 to 62 to 50. But then he becomes the Speaker of the House, and they go from 50,000 to $127,174 donated. A 250% increase, or 150% increase. A 150% increase over the year before. Their expenses are the highest they've ever been at $66,557. But you'll notice no payment to Kelly Johnson this year. Well, you might think, well, good. Finally, they're on the up and up. They must not be wasting a bunch of money on salaries. Well, you would be mistaken, because if you look right here under expenses, item 12, salaries, other compensation, employee benefits, somebody made $64,485. We just don't know who. So we've gotten even less transparency. First, we didn't know who the donors were, but we knew who was making all the money. Now we don't even know who the donors are, and we don't know where the money's going. It's a weird nonprofit. It's almost as if being in the nonprofit business is sort of a slush fund. You get to use it for travel. You get to use it for, and you don't have to pay taxes on it. And better, the person who gave you the money doesn't have to pay taxes on that money either. So if you want to buy me a first-class ticket to New York or Los Angeles, you have to pay taxes on that money. Then you have to pay me. I have to pay taxes on that money. And then I can use that to fly to Los Angeles or New York. You get taxed when you earn it. I get taxed when I earn it. And then after the government takes a pound of flesh from both of us, now I can use what's left over to fly to New York. Not so with them. They don't pay taxes either time. It's absolutely amazing. Now, her ministry may be one of those pray the gay away ministries. Not saying anything about the family. I'm just suggesting that's an interest they have, because we'll find out in a minute that this is not the first time they've been involved in this industry. Now, noticing this pattern, noticing the fact that Speaker Johnson declares no assets, noticing that Speaker Johnson's wife runs this weird nonprofit where people pay her money, they don't disclose the donors. She pays almost all of it to herself, like 70, 80, 90% some years of all the revenue coming into herself. People have filed complaints. They filed ethics complaints. And the ethics complaints, I think, are relatively interesting. In fact, here's an article in Newsweek about the ethics complaint. Newsweek, I think this is Josh Hammer's organization. We call it Week News around here. House Speaker Mike Johnson facing calls to be investigated over alleged repeated violations while filing his financial disclosure statements. End Citizens United, a grassroots progressive political group, written to the Office of Congressional Ethics, asked them to look into Johnson's finances over claims he has blatantly omitted reportable information and made numerous errors in several of his filings since he was first elected to Congress. Among some of the key allegations, he failed to disclose multiple trips paid for by private entities, did not fully disclose the source of his wife's income nor her ownership of interests in a privately held business, failing to list his personal bank account or financial on his financial disclosure, not disclosing his retirement assets. He never listed having savings or checking account in his or his wife Kelly's name or the name of any of his children. So nobody in the Johnson family has a bank account. Keep in mind, one of his kids is a lawyer, works for the government, works for one of the congressional. I think two of his kids work for the congressional committees. But nobody has a bank account. Nobody files any kind of disclosures. They just sort of do whatever they want. It makes you wonder what they have over this guy, why they want him in there so badly when he is flagrantly violating the law. For example, I'll give you one example here. I'm not going to pull it up, but I'll give you an example. In 2019, the ethics disclosure says that his wife earned $36,400. But if you look at the 990 form, it says that they paid her $50,000. So that it's like 15 grand they didn't report. Okay, maybe it's a minor mistake. Maybe it was an accident. But not disclosing that she owns part of an LLC, that's a little weird. Not disclosing, bank accounts and retirement assets, that's a little more. So what did he do before he went to Congress? What did he do before he went to Congress? This was Mike Johnson's job. Before he became a politician, House Speaker Mike Johnson partnered with an anti-gay conversion therapy group. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson closely collaborated with a group in the mid to late 2000s that promoted conversion therapy, a discredited practice that asserts it could change sexual orientation of gay and lesbian individuals. Prior to launching his political career, he gave legal advice to an organization called Exodus International. Founded in 1976, Exodus International was a leader in the so-called ex-gay movement. The group shut down in 2013 with its founder posting a public apology. Then he went to work for the socially conservative legal advocacy group Alliance Defense Fund, the ADF. He and his group collaborated with Exodus from 2006 to 2010. Okay. What's so bad about the Exodus International? Well, this from the Orange County Sheriff's Office just last week. Today, our detective stops a predator before he had the chance to harm a child. Alan Chambers has been arrested after he attempted to meet someone he thought was a 14-year-old boy. Actually, an undercover detective. You guys have seen these things. Chris Hansen made this famous on MSNBC. They would set bait. You know what this guy did? You know who he worked for? This Alan Chambers. You know what he did before he worked for Exodus International. That was the head guy. That was the guy at Exodus International. That was his place. That's where he worked. And that's where Mike Johnson, that's the people he helped. Well, okay. So his wife is involved in that ministry. He was involved in that ministry. There's just a lot going on around Mike Johnson that's a little weird, if we're being honest. Former Exodus International leader arrested on charges. Alan Chamber led a ministry that worked to help people overcome struggles with was arrested in Florida this week, charged with solicitation of a non-of-age individual. That's Alan Chambers. Now, again, he's innocent until proven guilty and all that. I don't, it's all allegedly, but that's the Speaker of the House. This is a very weird situation here, and it totally gave me Dennis Hastert vibes. Gave me Dennis Hastert vibes. What else did he do? Okay, well, let's look at what else Mike Johnson did. Mike Johnson spent some time on the ERLC. ERLC's Brent Leatherwood congratulates Mike Johnson on re-election as House Speaker, urges Southern Baptists to pray. You look right here. Johnson previously served as a member of the Board of Trustees for the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission from 2004 to 2012. Okay, well, that sounds like a good organization. Ethics and Religious Liberty. Who's against that? I like ethics. I like religious liberty. What's wrong with that? Well, while he was serving on that commission, that's supposed to be the ones in charge of enforcing the code there with the Southern Baptist Convention, this was happening. Widespread abuse in the Southern Baptist churches. A report found roughly 380 clergy, lay leaders, and volunteers had faced allegations of misconduct, leaving over 700 victims. This while Mike Johnson was active a lot of these years, while Mike Johnson was active on the board who is supposed to be enforcing all this. So this is starting to look a little weird, Mike, if we're being honest with each other. You also have Mike Johnson supporting a guy here named he worked for years alongside anti-gay activist, former radical Christian preacher Grant Storms. Mike Johnson did. Storms told the Beast that Johnson had done copious amounts of legal work for him in the early to mid 2000s, all for free. Okay. Fair enough. Well, why is that important? Well, anybody want to guess how this story ends up? Mike Johnson's friend here? Yeah, you can probably guess. Reverend Grant Storms, the same guy we were just talking about it, convicted of doing that near a park around children. Said it was a thrill. What's going on in the speaker's office? Who is this guy? And why do so many shady people get such powerful positions here in the United States? Keep in mind, these people are basically groomed for these positions. And when you look at all of this in context with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, when you look at all of this in context, there's one part of his story that was always a little weird to me. I mean, on one hand, you want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt on a story like this, and you say, hey, I mean, it sounds like a good deal. It's a little weird. But when Mike Johnson and his wife were newlyweds, they'd only been married a couple of years. They were in their early 20s. They claimed to have adopted a 14-year-old boy who was homeless. And they adopted him out of the Young Life program, or I guess that's how they came across him, in the Young Life program. Here's a New York Times article. In his public remarks over the years, Mr. Johnson describes Michael as his son and did not correct an interviewer who described Michael as adopted. Ms. Day said in an interview that the Johnsons did not formally adopt Michael because of the lengthy adoption process. They didn't even say whether Michael was using Johnson as a surname, and at the time he could not be reached for comment. I do understand that he has come out since, and to be completely fair on the story, spoken highly of Speaker Johnson and his wife Kelly. But it's a little weird when you consider that it came out of the Young Life program. And you have this article about former Young Life members alleging bad deeds. Since 2000, at least 8 Young Life volunteers or staff members have faced criminal charges alleging misconduct with members of the ministry. One volunteer leader in Holland, Michigan, pleaded guilty to first-degree misconduct after 5 youngsters accused him of years of misconduct when they were teenagers. Another 21-year-old staffer sent to jail. There's just so forth and so on. Again, anytime you have an organization that's dedicated to serving young, vulnerable people, you've really got to be careful who wants to volunteer and who wants to be involved in the program. You really got to dial it in and say, why is this person wanting to hang around? And I think it's especially true when one of the people hanging around takes one of the youth into his home. It gives me Dennis Hastert vibes. I can't help it. It just does. I'm just being honest. I'm not suggesting that I know things. I'm just telling you. It just gives me those vibes. We could probably guess that Speaker's living arrangements are strange. Speaker Mike Johnson's living in a D.C. house that is the center of a pastor's secretive influence campaign. Capitol Hill townhome, owned by a major Republican donor, headquarters of a little-known political influence project that has reached a number of powerful Republican politicians. It's a $3.7 million six-bedroom townhome blocks from the U.S. Capitol. Recently, the pastor scored a remarkable coup for a political influence project that has now, until now, managed to avoid public scrutiny. He got a new roommate. House Speaker Mike Johnson has been staying at the home since around the beginning of this year. According to interviews and videos obtained by ProPublica, House is owned by major Republican donor and Tennessee car magnate who's joined Berger in advocating for and against bills, multiple bills before Congress. So when I told you they sold their house, this is what I meant. They sold their house and are bunking up with a Republican influencer. Is that normal for a Speaker of the House? Seems a little weird. It just seems a little weird to me. And so I mention all this to come back to where I was at the beginning is nothing about Mike Johnson's story adds up to me. I remember when the Speaker fight kicked off and people were saying, is it going to be this guy or is it going to be that guy? Should they have gotten rid of Kevin McCarthy? Relative to should they have gotten rid of Mike McCarthy without a backup plan? Should they have gotten rid of Mike McCarthy at all? If you guys don't remember the Speaker fight from a few years ago, Mike McCarthy was a relatively terrible speaker in the sense that he did not uphold any Republican values, but Mike Johnson's not either, frankly. And we heard a bunch of names. Steve Scalise his name came up. They were mentioning people who weren't even in the House of Representatives, maybe as a compromise candidate to come in and sort of hold the fort down for a little while. And they settled on Mike Johnson. And I remember when they announced Mike Johnson, I thought, what the hell? Where did this guy come from? You know, his wife wasn't even there when the fight was going on, the Speaker's elections and the multiple ballots over and over and over. It was like a 2 or 3 week process. His wife didn't come up from Louisiana. She was down in Louisiana at the time. The family stayed down there. Oh, Kevin McCarthy. Yeah, Mike McCarthy's a football coach. Sorry. Kevin McCarthy. But I remember thinking at the time, the guy has to be compromised. And I hate that that's where my mind goes, but that's where my mind goes every single time. The guy has to be compromised. There's no other reason they would have picked this guy. And it's not just the Dennis Hastert thing, but it is the Dennis Hastert thing. It keeps coming back to me time and time again. It's the Oz the Mentalist thing. It's the fact that everybody who's in power in Washington, D.C. seems to suffer from the same problem. And that problem is that they are deeply compromised. I've seen it at the local level. I've seen it at the state level. It's just rampant in Washington, D.C. People seem to rise through the ranks on the basis of how easily are they to be compromised? How easily compromised are they? And it's not until you stop and you flip through the whole story, not until you stop and you look at the entire story. There's actually a really good X thread that we used as sort of the basis to start pulling on a lot of this. It came out last week. I'll show you because I want to give the person credit. A person named Susan on X. She didn't include any sources. We had to go track down a bunch of sources for this. If you don't like, too bad, whatever that means, but that's her thing there. But she has a great little X thread here. She starts pulling on a lot of these issues. But it's not until you stop and actually go through his story item by item and you look, okay, he worked for these people. What did these people do? Oh, that's what they did. Oh, okay. Well, then he worked with this organization. What did they? Oh, that's what they did. Hmm. Well, then, but don't forget, he also. Oh gosh, like I jokingly say this about people. And I'm not saying it's true 100% of the time, but you hear somebody and they're like, "Hey, I'm divorcing my husband." Well, okay, maybe it's his fault on the first time. But if you divorce your husband 9 times, like you divorced 9 straight men, it's probably your fault. I doubt it's all 9 of them. I doubt it was all them, unless you just really can't pick people very well, and that certainly happens. But when you look at Mike Johnson's past and you look at all these organizations he worked with, and they all seem to have the same running thing, and then let's just be honest, you look at him as an individual and you say, yeah, he looks pretty effeminate. He looks, I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. It wouldn't shock me to learn that there's more to the Mike Johnson story than meets the eye. And I mentioned that for good reason on the heels. What even got me thinking about any of this was coming off of the heels of the Thomas Massie election. Coming off the heels of the Thomas Massie election, it's as if there are certain people they don't want to be around. And you would think if they were going to throw the full weight of the entire establishment against somebody, it to me, it would be more likely to, I would insist, throw that guy out. We don't know enough about his past, and everybody around him seems pretty weird and shady. Maybe you throw your weight against a guy like that, and you don't throw the weight against a guy like Thomas Massie, who, as Charlie Kirk once described, was his favorite congressman, a guy who, if you just want to know somebody who really looks at the government as perhaps the founders sort of intended. I don't think the founders had any idea our federal government would be as bloated and bureaucratic and controlling as it is now. I don't think they could have possibly imagined that. A lot of these people didn't even want to serve on the Supreme Court because it was boring. They didn't have anything to talk about. They're like, hey, you sit up there and you settle a dispute between states here and there. Why would we bother being up there for that? So, I don't know, man. I look at this. I look at the nonprofit abuse as well. The nonprofit abuse bothers me. This goes back to the TPUSA problem, but it's so much deeper than TPUSA. I am of the mind that anybody who has any interaction whatsoever with the government, who works for or is involved with or gets payment from a nonprofit, the donor should be reported. The donor should have to be reported. We should know who is controlling our electoral politics. We should know who is paying Mike Johnson's wife $50,000, $60,000 a year. We just should. That's the whole point of the ethics disclosures. We should know. Now, if you don't want to be in office and you want to run a nonprofit dedicated toward praying the gay away and you want someone to cut you a check for $50,000, fine. I don't care. You don't care. That's their business. But if you're going to be in elected office and there's a ethics disclosure form that says you have to let them know who's paying you, the whole point of the form, guys, the entire point of the form is to say, is there inappropriate influence on this guy? And you can't know because they're funneling it through a nonprofit. Let me give you an example. Let's say Thomas Massie ran a nonprofit. And let's say Thomas Massie's nonprofit, paid him $50,000 or $100,000 a year, just the same amount. And let's say we opened up the nonprofit and we realized, oh my goodness, the money's coming from Russia, China, and Iran. We would be beside ourselves. The establishment certainly would be beside them. And frankly, rightfully so. How do you know who's paying Mike Johnson's wife? How do you know it's not coming from our greatest ally, or it's not coming from China, Russia? How do we know that there's not undue foreign influence on the sitting speaker of the United States of America? You don't. You can't. They're shielding the money behind a nonprofit. Go one step further into TPUSA, just one step removed from politics. What's the whole purpose of being concerned about who's running TPUSA? Well, the idea is that this organization is going to have a huge say in who's going to be elected the next president of the United States. They're going to throw their full weight behind somebody, and they're going to attempt, I think probably in vain because they're not very powerful anymore, but think about when Charlie was still there. A lot of people credited him with getting the president elected twice. What if all that money was coming from Moscow? What if all that money was coming from China, Iran, Israel? We can't know because it's hidden behind a nonprofit. So I think if you have any political connection whatsoever, your nonprofit should be required to disclose every donor. Now, they can still get their tax write-off, assuming they're American. But you don't even have to tell the federal government where you're getting your money. That's wrong. I'm sorry, that's wrong. Particularly when you're the wife of the sitting Speaker of the House, or particularly if you're TPUSA, who's out there engaged in politics and standing up on stages with the TPUSA banner behind you at an event paid for by TPUSA and saying, we're going to get J.D. Vance elected. Who's we? Who's paying this? Who paid for this? Who put this organization together? Who donated the $100 million, the $200 million, the $250 million? I will make a bet. It's going to shock some people. But I think when TPUSA announces their next round of fundraising, because they'll have to file a 990 at some point. I think when they announce the 2025 and 2026 totals, you'll see numbers that boggle the mind. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Probably north of 250 for 2025 and could be as much as 500 million for 2026. Would it change your opinion if the money was not coming from within America? If it was coming from overseas? It would change mine. Just like it would change my opinion if Mike Johnson's wife's money was coming from overseas. It just would. I'm sorry. I've seen it happen too many times. You change your political stripes based on who's paying you. You just do. You just do. That's just like our friend over at Paramount Impractical. He was like doing great work, and then all of a sudden he gets a contract, and all of a sudden he's hates everybody out there still doing good work. Your mind changes when you start getting paid. Your mind changes. Now, it's allegedly, Gary, right there, allegedly. I have deep concerns about the Speaker of the House. Deep concerns about the Speaker of the House. Deep concerns about the money, deep concerns about whether or not he is subject to blackmail for his past. I think Dennis Hastert was subject to blackmail. I think he probably was blackmailed, which is why after he becomes Speaker, after he leaves the Speaker of the House, then he has to start paying people off. Because at that point, the blackmail was no longer good. He wouldn't have any power anymore. Now it's just destroy the guy, take him out. That was the whole point of Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. If you go back in time, if you remember, there are very strong, serious allegations that the conversations Bill Clinton had with Monica Lewinsky were eavesdropped on by foreign nations who then used it to blackmail him. That's the allegation. I wasn't there. I was alive, but I wasn't in the Oval Office. I wasn't there to know whether he was being blackmailed. But this is a very serious allegation. So I want to keep a very close eye on Mike Johnson. It's now May. We have elections coming up in November. Most of the primaries are either over or close to over or pretty much already decided. I predict the Republicans are going to get absolutely wasted in 2026, and they're going to try to blame everybody on our side of the political aisle, and that's fine. They can do that. That's their business. I don't think they are smart enough to believe it. I mean, I don't think they're stupid enough to believe it, but I think they're smart enough to say it. That they think that's what happened. It makes good politics to have a foil. This is Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. Pick a foil and go after him. They're doing that with Candace. You've seen that. You know, identify, attack. That's just a classic move there. But anyway, I wanted to raise the issue because I want to keep a close eye on it. We've got a lot of important legislation pending, and Mike Johnson, who had a pretty good voting record before he became Speaker of the House, is now lousy, very lousy. And I'm wondering if we know why. That's all I'll say. I'm wondering if we know why. It is a holiday, so I'm going to let you out of here a little early. I'll go through some of your comments, questions, concerns, anything you have. Plus, I want to get done a little early. I'm going to see the grandbaby tonight. So, hey. It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. If you're one of I think I had 29% last night watch the show who are not subscribers. Inappropriate, unacceptable. Click the button. If you're on TV and don't know how to do it, pull up your phone and click the button. Like the video, subscribe. It does help quite a bit. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Let me pull this down real quick. I'll probably do a member show tomorrow rather than a regular show. I haven't made that decision yet. This sort of depends on how the morning goes. I will let you know by mid-morning whether it's going to be a member show early in the afternoon or whether it's going to be a regular show, probably about the same time. I plan to go early this week, take advantage of the vacuum created by Candace's absence this week. So if I do a member show, it'll probably be 1 or 2 in the afternoon. If I do a regular show, it'll probably be 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon. If I do a regular show tomorrow, members, there'll be a member show on Friday. I'm not going to rob you 2 weeks in a row of the member show experience, but I will take care of that one way or the other. Well, I'll let you know tomorrow. Let me go through some of these. Wanted to share after comments last night. I'm 36. Recently cut ties with my mom. This isn't the first time. I've given her many chances to be the mom I needed. She never could. Has nothing to do with SM. I can't remember what SM stands for in the context of last night. Look, I'm not if you weren't watching last night, this is something that kept coming up towards the end of the program in the comments. Kids who cut their parents off and the grandparents of their children. I am not suggesting you're doing the right or wrong thing. I was just shocked by the statistics people were throwing out that 27% of adult children intentionally don't have contact with their parents. It was weird to me. I did not know that. That seemed awfully high. So, I'm not going to invade the province of your family and tell you what you should or shouldn't do. Thank you for all you do. Congrats on becoming a grandpa. Thank you for all you do. And thank you for the congrats. It's amazing. It's amazing. Congrats, Granddad. I have to disagree on the paver guy. Why did he feel a need to state he put girls on stretchers? Nervous chatter about being a good Samaritan? I don't know. I'm not telling you what to believe about him. I'm telling you what I believed. I think the fact that he doubted the official narrative so vociferously kind of gave me confidence that I didn't think he was intentionally part of a grand conspiracy. I'll say that. Now, Sam Parker, after the show last night, contacted me and he said, have you considered that the guy may not have known he was part of a cover-up until he discovered he was part of a cover-up? And I had not. Believe it or not. That thought actually did not cross my mind. There was a line in the podcast that I didn't play because it had several foul words in it, and I was just trying to limit the number of clips I was playing. But there was a line in that podcast that said he was like, hey, I didn't. The one guy was like, hey, were you unintentionally part of a cover-up? He's like, hell, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it dawned on him, at least. But I don't think he intentionally set out from the beginning, was identified beforehand to be part of a cover-up. If that's what you're suggesting, I don't agree with that. Congrats on grandbaby. I've got 9 grands and 1 great grand. 4 generations. What a blessed life I have. You do indeed have a blessed life.
Hey, Baron.
Yeah.
Don't forget the poll on YouTube.
Oh no, I've lost.
I
The
hate to
poll.
bring it to you.
Oh, thank you. I forgot it was running. 5,587 votes, and I lost. Is it spelled Granddad, D-D-A-D, Granddad? Or is it Granddad, G-R-A-N-D-A-D? 60-40 right now. G-R-A-N-D-A-D. I always looked at it like grandpa, grandfather, granddad. There would be the word grand, and then you would add the suffix pa, father, pop, Dad. So there would be Grandad. But apparently 60% of you disagree. I might have to change how I spell this. I don't know, though. I like the two D's there back to back. It looks distinguished. It looks like it's all right, it's coming. You guys are coming around. Now I got 41% in my favor. Come on, guys. Help me out. Help me out. I'm not going to change my spelling. I just wanted to know. We're doing 3Ds. We're doing this in 3D. Grandad. 3Ds. 3Ds. Thanks, Daisy, for pointing that out. Oh, now it's back to 60-40. Great. Can't have anything, guys. Can't have anything nice. You try, but you can't. Baron, our family is welcoming baby number 3, our first girl in 1 week. Baby Gemma and I have been listening to you for 7 months. We will see if she finds your voice soothing outside the womb. Prayers, please. Prayers for you indeed. I will warn you that most children find my voice very soothing, as do adults. When I'm not hacking all over the place, they love it. They love it. So I can't guarantee it, but I will say most. Prayers indeed. Just a little support. Keep these sponsors away a little longer. Yeah, I was actually contacted again over the weekend by somebody. It was actually a really compelling sponsorship. But I have resisted. I put the brakes on it to this date. So thank you, Lissy. Man, I don't know how you guys do these names. Okay, yesterday when you mentioned the note that CK wrote that EK read, her facial expression was to die for. At that moment, I knew marriage was on the rocks, and at that moment, EK heart sank because she read it live. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced their marriage was on the rocks. I'm pretty convinced it was basically over. I gave my reasons for that last night. If you didn't catch the show, that was second half-ish of the show, second half of the content portion, not the comments at the end. But I think the case is pretty compelling that they were having real trouble. I mean, real trouble. Who do you guys think is behind Nick Shirley? Please comment. Congratulations. God is good. I mean, who rules America? Who benefited from the Somali story? There's only one group that benefited from that story. I mean, everybody up there that had access to all this information the whole time. Everybody has known that the Somali daycares up there were fake, and they've been given billions of dollars to it. But there's one country in particular that doesn't want billions of dollars of American money flowing into Somalia. Only one. And I would guess that's who's behind Nick Shirley. Probably why he was in Cuba. Probably why he was in Cuba. The glow of being a granddad is ruining your rants. I'll tell you, it's hard to get fired up right now. I can't get angry. I keep trying, but all I can think about is a little bundle of sweetness. Please send all prayers. Just found out in 1 week, a third friend is battling for their lives against cancer. Hits home being 3X 2-type survivor myself. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. There's something going on with cancer. I noticed the CDC has not put out their statistics, their cancer statistics in the last couple of years. They seem to be past due on that. And I just know from my own personal life, we had a neighbor around the corner. I think he was 39 maybe when he was diagnosed. Died within basically a year, 40 when he died. Maybe he was 40 and died at 41. But he's not the only one. There's something going on with it. I don't know what it is. I mean, I have a suspicion. But it's terrifying. It's tragic and terrifying. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Hi, Bear. Regarding yesterday's episode with CK, possible divorce, and list with kids number 1 on it, do you think CK was considering stepping back from TPUSA at all and focusing more on his kids? No. I don't. See, Let me pull this down. This is a serious question. I probably should have addressed this last night. The consequences for Charlie Kirk could have been the end of his career if he'd gotten divorced. The pressure that goes into a normal marriage is intense. It's immense. It's incredible. The family is the cell of society. The family is the best chance children have to have a good life. It just is. Period. And if you're evil incarnate, if you are an evil force, a supernatural or preternatural evil force, there's no question the one thing you would want to attack more than anything else would be the family. And that pressure, even for a normal middle-class family, is incredible. You're going to have temptations and you're going to have attacks and you're going to have all this stuff thrown at you, all different directions, temptation to get angry, temptation to fight, temptation, all kinds of stuff. You're going to have now with society, I mean, when I quit drinking, 3.5 years ago, the hardest part of it, it wasn't even like the fact that I wanted to drink. It was that everywhere you go, when you're offered some alcoholic beverage and you decline and you say, just have some more, people go, oh, you don't drink? What's wrong? What's wrong with you? Like you're sick or you are weird. It's like you decide, think about how weird you would be perceived if you decided to leave the house, but you put your underwear on the outside of your pants, men and women. You put your pants on with the sweatpants, jeans, but instead of putting your underwear on under them, you put it on over them. And you just went out in public. And everywhere you went in public, people saw you with your underwear outside your pants. They would think you're a weirdo. If you've ever quit drinking, that's a little bit what it feels like. Everywhere you go, it's like your underwear's on the outside of your pants. It's like you're a weirdo. The pressure is just intense. Even the pressure to drink alcohol, which can be damaging to family. I mean, just so much pressure from every different direction. When you're a guy like Charlie Kirk, that pressure has to be times 1,000. I mean, smart, tall, travels all the time, constantly with rich and powerful, famous people. They do drugs, they drink a lot, there's women around, the pressure on his life must have just been incredible. Plus, you're leaving a woman back home while you're gone 300 days a year. Very pretty gal back home. She's going to have her pressures. But especially when your entire career is basically built out of, let me tell you how to live your life. I mean, Charlie's message was pretty simple to everybody he encountered. If possible, get married young, have kids young, stay married forever, and focus on raising good kids, and that if you can afford it, keep the wife at home as long as possible, as much as possible to raise the kids. Imagine if he would have had to come out and say, well, we tried that, it didn't work. That's tremendous pressure on him. I can't imagine what he went through on a daily basis, knowing that. Now take it one step further. Because not only was his whole career built on that, a lot of people were talking about him being president, governor. And I don't know whether he would have enjoyed that. I don't know whether he would have run. And even if you're like ordained to be the next president, even though people like announce that you're going to be the next president, you still got to run, and it's still hell to try to win a race. But I can't imagine the pressure Charlie Kirk had day in and day out. I just can't imagine. So if his marriage truly was floundering, and I think it was, I think it would have been more difficult for him than it is on most other people. I think the marriage would have been more difficult to maintain, to keep, because of all the pressure, all the stress, the temptations, the everything that comes your way. times a million when you're in a high profile marriage like that, particularly one built around Christianity and teaching Christianity and the faith and the family. And can you imagine the victory celebration from the bowels of hell if that family could have been destroyed? Oh man, woo! Demons just dancing around, high-fiving each other, slapping their little spade tails up against each other, knocking horns. Good job, demon. Good job, other demon. I mean, it would have been crazy. Hugging with their little hooves. That'd have been fantastic for them. And so I now knowing all that pressure, what if he did make the decision? I got to go anyway. Because even knowing all that, this is not a marriage I can sustain. I cannot be in this marriage. This is not who I thought she was, whatever the reason. I felt bad for him. Retroactive. I didn't know any of this was going on at the time. I would have felt bad for him at the time. I feel bad for him now. Looking back, he's dead. But I can't imagine he felt there was any easy way out if their marriage truly was in trouble. It's a big if, allegedly. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I go to all the things that we pointed to last night. There were like 8 or 10 things we pointed to, and it looked pretty dire from where I sat. Last night was a paver emergency. Tonight you started with a camera emergency. You're the man, Baron. You guys have no idea. I'm going to go back and look at the camera setting tonight because I actually kind of like the way it sits right now. Felt like I was sitting too high last night. I kind of like this more in the middle. But you guys have no idea what it was like when I'm like 3 minutes away from starting and I look and my camera's doing this. And it's like, oh, it was awful. Awful. I got to keep the dog. I got to build a cage around the tripod. Your story being called out by your daughter, called out for by your daughter while your grandbaby was arriving, brought me to tears. Brought tears to my eyes. I can't read. Thanks for sharing such tenderness with us. Yeah, I thought I hesitated to even tell that story because I didn't know if it sort of invaded her privacy. But it was such a touching moment. I will say this. If I lose my mind in old age, I hope that's one of the very last memories to go. My daughter and I have had our runaround. We've had our moments. I deserved a lot of them. And, parenting is not easy. But to be able to be there in that moment, to have her even want me there in that moment, and then to hear her cry out in a fit of desperation in that moment, it was something I will never want to forget. And I hope I'm spared I hope I'm given mercy and grace. That at my old age on my deathbed, if I remember nothing else, I hope I remember that moment. I genuinely do. It was a top tier moment for me. So thank you for sharing that. Have a great Memorial Day. Doing my best here. We'll talk about that a little bit at the very end. Pending divorce, love lost makes a lot more sense to me than nefarious involvement. Seems to be the acting. The former reason makes more sense as to why. Oh, she seems to be acting. Yeah. That's putting it mildly. God bless you and your family. We missed you too. I pray Candace's discovery is fruitful. Paving the crime is hearsay, is it not? No, that's not hearsay. That's not what hearsay means. If anything, it would be some sort of spoliation or destruction of evidence charge. Or when I say charge, I mean charge to the jury. But no, it wouldn't be hearsay. Hearsay is an out-of-court statement presented in court for the truth of the matter asserted. That's kind of a back-of-the-envelope definition of hearsay. So it's not a statement. It's by definition not a statement. But thank you for that. Very kind, very generous. Look at this. 5 memberships just dropping on people's heads. They're floating out of the sky right now, and they're landing right on people. So thank you for that. Edge, Happy Memorial Day, Baron Coleman podcast family. Today is my birthday, 39 again. Happy birthday, Edge. That makes me happy. To celebrate, I gave you the day off. Secretly, I hoped baby grand girl would arrive today, but we'll love her every day in memory of those who gave all for the freedom and barbecue. I shall eat cake. Yes, go eat cake. Go eat cake. I do intend to have a few words to say about Memorial Day at the end because, like a lot of you, my family was affected by military loss. And I think I've shared the story. I would not be here but for someone who gave the ultimate sacrifice in war, in World War II. And I was going to share that at the end, but thank you. I was talking about you with my BFF at Walmart and ran into a dude watching you full volume in the pickup zone. Pinned in Puerto Rico, my B. Te amo. Hey, that sounds amazing. No, es demasiado. No, it's not. More, más. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Lighten up the Walmart in Puerto Rico. Is that what I understand? Thank you. That's amazing. Please pray for my family. 2 months ago today, my best friend died of cancer. Oh my gosh, more cancer stories. Tomorrow, my cat will be put down, and Friday's the anniversary of my son's passing. Going through a hard time right now. Goodness gracious, we'll pray for you, Rachel. Sounds like a tough week. Absolutely pray for you. Thank you for sharing, your prayer request with us. I'm glad people feel safe enough here to ask for prayers for things like this. Some of these prayer requests are deeply personal. Hi, if Erica and Charlie were signing papers in a few days, wouldn't the papers have already been drawn up? Someone would know what they were for, say. Christ is king indeed. I would think so, but the likelihood you ever see those is zero. Because obviously they're covered by privilege, so the lawyer could never release them. And she doesn't tend to release anything. Not unless she has to. Jackie? You trying to fight me? And then I'm fighting words, poo-paw. No, I'll allow poo-paw. Actually, I don't want to be a poo-paw. I could be granddad, grandpa, gramps, pee-paw, paw-paw. I can't be poo-paw. That's just one I can't do. You can call me, old stinky man, but you can't call me poo-paw. It's the same thing, though. Sending love to you and fam. My babies changed my life for the better. My mom and I grew up grandparentless. Baby girl is blessed to have you. Christ is king indeed. Aaron, thank you for that. I hope they're enjoying the show. Born and raised in Springfield, Illinois area. We have the best horseshoes. The best horseshoes? How do you even judge that? You mean like throwing horseshoes or like putting them on a horse? Abe Lincoln and a lot of corruption. You win some, you lose some. Yeah. It's hard to believe Illinois is more than Chicago. I know we don't think about it. It's like New York. We only think of New York City. A whole lot of Illinois outside of Chicago. A whole lot. I remember Erica Kirk's September 2nd Instagram post saying her own book was coming out on September 16th, 2025. Later, those details seemed wiped from the internet and she promoted his book instead, which I always found strange. I don't remember her saying she had a book. Can anyone verify that? Is that a thing? Is that on the Wayback Machine? Can we find that? Johnson having no assets. I call bull butter. So do I. Christ is king indeed. I call lots of butter. His wife's orange pantsuit is an asset. No. Something, but it's not an asset. Live in Louisiana. Not in his district, but he's very shady. Glad you picked him. Christ is king indeed. Well, I'm starting to agree. I've never really done a deep dive into Mike Johnson. I always had these questions swirling around in my head, like, what about this? Where'd this come? What a weird guy. Baron, I missed the live last night because Indy 500. It was what are you talking about? It was done long before. I watched it. I actually watched it. I had it pulled up on my desk while I was prepping. Unless you were there. Maybe that's what you mean, Lisa Mack. You were actually at the Indy 500. In Speedway, Indiana. Just wanted to say congrats to you and your family. Title, Granddad. It's the best gig there is next to parenting. I'm looking forward to giving it a go. I met Mike Johnson back in 22. Set up a town hall for him in the municipality I worked in. I have been researching him since, and I'm so glad someone is finally talking about this creep and this alleged criminal. I'm not going to put alleged on a creep. He's creepy. But I'll put alleged on criminal. There's a psych diagnosis. King baby syndrome. It's Trump 100%. Do everything for me. Never say I'm wrong, but tell me I'm amazing and bow to me even while you wipe my hiney for me. I think all these men have it. I've never wanted to throw up more than I do in this moment. I don't want to think about wiping his hiney. I've never heard of that. Sounds like Fran Drescher. Must be his nanny. Talking about his wife. She just talked like this the whole time. I could try to do a whole podcast as his wife. I think it would be tough. I don't know why these people don't ever break character. Because I promise you, the Lord did not design her to talk like that. That's forced. Her countdown drives me nuts. She said it was for something special, but never tells us. I 100% saw a vid of Charlie Kirk saying Erica would do a great job. Anyone else? I mean, it's AI if you did, because there's no legitimate video floating around of him saying that. After 1.5 years sober, I relapsed today. I faded from God and concentrated on money and lost it. Not here for pity, but for prayers, and I returned to Jesus and not the way of the world. Acutely numb, you've come to the right place. We're not going to judge you. We're not going to judge you. And we're not going to pity you either. Knock it off. Pick yourself up and start over. Tomorrow's day one. The strength you had to get through those first 490 days or whatever it was? Do it again. Do it again. When you wake up tomorrow, just make breakfast. And then when you get to breakfast, make lunch. After you get through lunch, dinner's just a few hours away. And once you get to dinner, all you got to do is go to bed. And then do it again the next day. And do it again the next day. We're not going to judge you. I'm not going to put up with this crap much longer, though. Get over it. Tighten up. We run a tight ship around here. We don't expect perfection, but we expect you to do well. Do any of these have a non-handler relationship? No, none. None of them. None of them do. I polled wrong, granddad. Mine used to be granddaddy. My kids have a granddad. My kids have a granddad and a granddaddy. It's corruption at its finest. Swamp is vast and deep. Yeah. Not sure if I said it yet, but jiu-jitsu is having major problems with claims from young students against most prominent names, accusations that might have huge implications on the sport. I've heard nothing of it. I actually truly haven't. I've heard nothing but good things about jiu-jitsu. The only scandal I've heard about it is people get hurt a lot. And it's like the coaches aren't telling people, hey, dial it back a little bit. You don't have to try to rip the arm off of everybody you encounter. That's the only thing I've heard about it. But I've heard it's good for discipline and physical fitness and everything else. Speaking of physical fitness, you know what my workout was today? I did a 1K row. Less than 4 minutes. Just get in the saddle and go. And I thought, I did a 2K row a few weeks ago. And I thought, okay, this will probably be easier than the 2K row. It's shorter. Al contrario. It was horrific. It was horrific. I don't recommend it. Actually, I do. I do recommend it. If you want like a 4-minute workout that will destroy your life, it took me like 5 minutes to get up off the rower and off the floor. I got off the rower after about 2 minutes, and then I laid on the floor. It took me like 3 minutes to get off the floor. It crushed me. I mean, crushed me. A rower is not really that expensive. You can get a lot of good workouts on a rower. A lot of really cool. You can do long workouts, short workouts, fast workouts. You can kind of get on and off of it. Rower, some squats, rower, some burpees, rower, some push-ups. Just body weight in a rower, you can get fit. You can get really fit. Add in a kettlebell, you can get ridiculously fit with not much else. Are you guys still doing your standing up and sitting down out of the chairs without your hands 20 times a day minimum? Working your way up to 60 times a day? I hope so. I'm starting to notice that some of the most powerful men have marriages arranged for power and status. Oh, that's just now dawning on you? A spouse who loves them, maybe that is why they're missing. That's what they're missing and why they seem lost. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. That's a very common thing in politics. It's usually deviants that get into politics, and the people around them have this stable of attractive young women, and the attractive young women are looking for money and power and fame, access to the good life, and the men are looking to hide their deviance and have an attractive wife to help them raise a family so that they can enter the world of politics. It's very common in politics. Very common in politics. Baron, I emailed you about Representative Tim Burchett. It's actually pulled up on my screen. He's down and he loves Jesus. It'll be fun. Check your email. LOL. Christ is king. Holly, it's actually pulled up right there on my screen on this monitor over here. This number 2 monitor. So I'll reach out to you. I just got behind. I had a lot going on today, but I will get to it. I wish I had the money to give more. I'm grateful for your truth, research, and sincerity. By the way, your accents, imitations are fantastic. Truly. Thank you. I will allow it. That's a comment I'll allow. Thank you. Thank you. Yesterday, you said your brain is crazy for thinking about the scary future while holding your new grandbaby. In my opinion, you're not crazy. Good. Good. Makes 2 of us. I'm Gen X and have been in crisis mode since Reagan. It's all I think about, too. You realize, think about somebody who was born in like 1900. Pick 1900. 15 years into their life, 14, 15 years into their life, World War I breaks out. Like the whole world gets set on fire. And tens of millions of people die. Massive population reduction, starvation. You've got Soviet Union is formed, takes over Russia. You end up with this build up to World War II, which is like Sodom and Gomorrah in Central Europe. You know, Germany, Weimar Germany was horrific. Like it was a brothel. It was a brothel right in the middle of Central Europe. I mean, it was bad. Every bad thing you can think of was taking place in Germany in terms of sin and licentiousness and indulgence and all that. So that this is this person born in 1900 in, let's say, Belgium or let's say Berlin. They get World War I from age 14 to 18. And then for the next 25 or so years, they live through one of the most horrific moral periods in human history. And then they get World War II. Hitler comes to power in 1933. You got the Anschluss of on Austria in 1938. You've got the incursion into Poland, September of 1939. You get the British involved, the French involved, Russians get involved. I mean, it's just like the Americans eventually get involved. Like it's just a total, again, the world is set on fire. And then that settles down for a few years. And you get the rebuilding period, which is, again, not a day at the park if you're in Europe. And that's like the first 50 years of your life. That's if you survived it. The first 50 years of your life. And then a few years later, the Korean War kicks off. Vietnam War kicks off. I mean, pick a date of being born. Most people born after 1900, the vast majority of their life, there were wide-scale, large global conflicts. Even me, I was born in 1979. I'm in 5th grade when the Gulf War breaks out. And then as I'm coming of age, it's Bosnia and the multiple wars, Kosovo, the multiple wars in Eastern Europe. And then I turned 21 in time for Iraq and Afghanistan that last 20 years. And now this. I don't know what that does to a human brain. It's not. I don't think we were designed to be at this level of conflict this long as a society, as humanity. And I'm not talking about the old school conflicts where like every few years, like 50 or 100 people would come into your neighborhood or your little village and cause problems. I'm talking total war, like global conflict, whole countries mobilized. And tens of millions of people killed. I don't think we were designed for this. Congrats, Granddad. Well, on the other hand, oldest granddaughter on both sides had a real special relationship with both grandpas. Hope you have the same bond. I miss them every day. I hope so too. I anticipate it. Thank you. This super chat was erased. Erica Kirk's September 2nd Instagram post used to say her. No, that super chat was not erased. I actually read it. Yeah, we could check the Wayback Machine and see if we could find it. I don't recall that. Granddad. Thank you. Finally, someone who gets it. FYI, on Tuesday, Tyler Robinson's defense heavily implied the news misreported his prints were on the gun, and he confessed, but they can't correct the record because Rule 3.6. I'll have to check that. I didn't hear that. And I agree they probably can't, but I don't even know if that's true. But I don't think that would prevent his family from doing it. And I understand that his family is obeying the direction of his defense. I'll tell you, if his prints aren't on the gun and they kept telling us they are, they're in real trouble. I don't know if that's true or not. A girl, well, could be a small girl. A girl from small town Alabama who married an Alabama state rep had to go through etiquette classes so she would be presentable. They groomed the wives. Yeah, they called it finishing school. Finishing school. There are people I recommend it to. I kid. Hi, Baron. We just finished Secret Founding of America by Nicholas Hager and Candace's book club. Pretty fascinating. You might really enjoy it too. Christ is King indeed, which, by the way, founding fathers would never say. I have that book on my nightstand. I'm not finished with it, but I peck away at it when I get time here and there. Gifted 5 membos. They're falling out of the sky, guys. Now's your chance. My goodness, I missed you. Aw, I missed you. Seaside 514. You have no idea how badly I missed you. Lovely to see high IQ members on Like-Minded Podcast last week while you were away. Congrats, Granddad. Jesus loves you. Christ is King indeed. Indeed. Jim Jordan, same allegations, Ohio State Wrestling. Yeah. And a lot of people were saying he might be a candidate for Speaker of the House. Imagine that. Both Granddad and Grandma and Granddad are correct. Oh, Granddad is American English. Good. Being an American. That's good. Baby Talk, linked to Institute in Basic Life Principles by Bill Gothard. It was mentioned in a documentary on Prime about the Duggars. Is it really? That's a thing? I mean, I know it's a thing, but I didn't know it was a thing. I knew it was a thing. I wish Dexter was in politics. I've never seen it, but I've heard about it. And I don't think we need to wish that on our elected officials. Nobody believed Sybil Edmonds when she outed Hastert in 2004. Took 10 years to vindicate her. We always find the truth when it's too late. Yeah, convenient that. I almost choked when you used your baby voice. Unexpected and hilarious. Just in time to use with your grandchild. Oh, she's got her own voice already. My wife kind of made fun of me for using my voice to talk to her. My default position is you must be compromised to be allowed to get any power in politics. That's correct. That was the whole knock against Trump is, oh, he finally survived. He wasn't compromised. Well, if he wasn't, then does anyone really believe Mike doesn't secretly bat for the home team? Southern Baptists believe you can pray it away. It's granddad and grandma. Thank you. That's how I think that's how we're choosing to spell it. I'll have to check with Mrs. Coleman. Maybe she'll drop a D out of the granddad. I don't know. And we haven't talked about the spelling yet. I'll defer to her. I think a lot of people in Washington, D.C. secretly bat for the other team, including people that work at nonprofits in and around politics. I wish you dug into his wife's background. We would see who he is even clearer. Without knowing Erica, we would be lost in the Charlie Kirk investigation. The Johnsons don't come off as the normal, happy couple. Well, there's still time. Not tonight, but there's still time. I can dig into her background. And I will. DC equals District of the Compromised. Every one of them. Indeed. Aunt Lindsay G. And Mike J. And many more. It's insulting to our common sense. There's a difference in a Southern gentleman and a Southern gentleman. I guess I could tell you at this point. So I think we've had an openly gay president. James Buchanan was an openly gay president. The postal carrier used to refer to James Buchanan and his roommate as Aunt Fancy and Miss Nancy. And they have letters they wrote to each other that have since become famous, well known, where one of them was talking to the other one and was like, if, this you being away is so horrible, I'm going to be forced to take up the acquaintance or the fellowship of a woman because I don't have you around. It's even more detailed than that. I'm keeping it kind of radio friendly here. But what's funny about that is the man's name, he actually became vice president. His name was William Rufus Devane King, was the roommate of James Buchanan. William Rufus Devane King. In fact, King County in Seattle, named after William Rufus Devane King. He only served a short period of time. He died of tuberculosis. And I think he holds the distinction of the first vice president sworn in outside of Washington, D.C. Don't hold me to that. I might be wrong. He might be the only vice president sworn in outside of D.C. He went to Cuba, to try to recover from tuberculosis. And I think he was sworn in either down there or on the way back or something. But what's funny about that is my wife is related to him. William Rufus Devane King. It's like a fifth great uncle or something. He was from Selma, Alabama. And I never forget when I found out she was related to him. I was like, for real? For real? Oh, yeah. Read that one too. Kevin McCarthy lived with pollster Frank, the toupee Luntz. Maybe they're all compromised. Frank's a weirdo. There's no equivalent to AIPAC in Israel. Why would there be? Johnsons give opposite vibes of those Macrons. Oh. That's because only one of them has a little Macron in the Johnson household. At the store today, in my high IQ shirt, guy behind me says, "Nice shirt." He's a 6'3" biker guy. I said, "So you know?" I kid you not. He responds with a big smile and says, "Whoop, whoop." We are a family. We are a family. That's amazing. What a great story. Yeah, my daughter was spotted in the Trader Joe's in some gear. And I don't remember exactly how the story goes, but someone was like, "Oh, you listen." She was like, "That's my dad." I thought that was funny. 2018 hackers leaked docs from the Israel Ministry of Justice discussing FARA compliance and instead using U.S. nonprofits to receive pro-Israel funding. That was around the same time they suspected infiltration of TPUSA. I'm taking a picture of that because I'd like to find that. If that's true. Yeah, see, this is old school RBP right here. I used to take pictures of comments. Still doing it. Allegedly, Gary, don't get your pants in a bunch. Oh, panties. He wears his panties on the outside of his pants. Just what I heard. Baron, I'm new. Happy to be here. Who do you think about replacing that pick of Trump with? And love the show. Christ is King indeed. There's no reason to replace this. It speaks volumes, being a black square up there. I don't understand when the rules were changed because I ran a nonprofit. All monies had to be reported. It's just so odd to me. I'm such a rule follower. I don't think there was ever a time when you had to report donors. You have to report income, like how much is coming in, or revenue. Are you tired of winning? Oh, yeah, I'm exhausted. Oh, my gosh, I'm so tired. That's a funny question. Yeah, I was told there would be winning. I was told there would be winning. I will admit the border policy's been adequate. Not great, but adequate. But outside of that, we've been losing. Hi, Baron. I'm relatively new to your podcast. This is my first time watching live. Thank you for what you do. Christ is King indeed. Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us. Did I miss your reaction to Victor Marks from Candace's show? Major red flags, in my opinion. Not someone I would want in office. No, you didn't. I haven't done it yet. I actually talked to Daisy about that today. We kind of pushed it off to tomorrow. Either tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on if I do a member show tomorrow or Friday. Who is that guy? LOL, Baron, you keep me highly informed and entertained. I received 2 of my shirts I ordered from RPD. No worries. I always wash 100%. I don't know what that means. And I'm glad you wash 100%. This investigation on every politician running. Yeah, that would be good. We should do this for more people. Unfortunately, they're time intensive. But yeah, can you imagine if someone did a deep dive into Lindsey Graham? Can you imagine if someone really looked into Lindsey? I almost said looked into Lindsey Graham's backstory. Can you imagine if somebody investigated Lindsey Graham appropriately? I'll allow that. I can't imagine. I mean, the man was wandering around Disney World with a bubble wand. I just can't imagine what's in the backstory. Thank you, Colby. Did you see clips of Stu Peters? He says the SAM flights you were looking into are for Pete Hegseth, the newly discovered Zayu. I've addressed that several times on this show. I don't necessarily agree that they were Pete Hegseths. Could be. But I think there's pretty reliable information that Pete Hegseth was in either Dominican or Puerto Rico, down there somewhere on that day. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I think there's pretty reliable information. I didn't vote because they're both correct depending upon where you're from. Love you anyway. Christ is King indeed. Vote for me. Which one you think I should use? They don't know how to spell. It's Granddad. Thank you. Thank you. I thought so. I'm 46. Went no contact with my mother many times for years, long stretches. I think people are just talking about it now, whereas before you didn't tell people. Oh. It's so weird. So weird to me. There's a 5-hour expose dossier vid on Oz. He's fake and gay. Fake and gay. Yeah, I'll have to look at that because I think the guy's dangerous. Granddad. They're misspelling it. Dictionary. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. Thank you. I think I'm right. Kid goes to Berkeley. Doesn't talk to me because my vote. Oh, your kid goes to Berkeley. Did you do that on purpose? You sent your kid there on purpose? That's deep into enemy territory. I mean, I'm trying to think of an equivalent, like a global equivalent. I'm not sure there is one. Google says granddad, 2 Ds is the preferred spelling in American English. Granddad, 1 D, is commonly accepted and used in British English. I chose 2 Ds. Good to know. Gary's probably tickled pink that you mentioned him, but the moment he goes live, he'll start shadowboxing the I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. That reminds me of that clip of Dan Bongina shadowboxing the air. He was kicking, he was punching. It was a sight to behold. Congrats, granddad. Even Siri says 2 Ds. Many blessings to your family. Christ is King, amen. Now, the 2 Ds versus 1 D is a little confusing because when you say 2 Ds, there's only 2 Ds in granddad with 1 D. There's a D between the N and A, and there's a D at the end. There's only 2 Ds. So you mean back-to-back Ds, I think is how I'm going to interpret that. B, it's clearly granddad. Thank you. Not the court of public opinion. Have you seen Don't Look Up? I have. What a great show. Mrs. Coleman and I took an overnight. I don't remember when it was, 6 months or so ago. And we watched it. I know when you have colon polyps months before your doctor does. You've got 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, it's a great movie. I don't remember that line. But it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. Both spellings are acceptable. This granddad spells it properly. 1 D, just like 1 R. Look at your kid's cards. Oh, I know how you spell it. I'm not challenging you. That's my dad. I'm not challenging you. I know exactly how you spelled it. And when I spelled it with the 2 Ds in the middle, back-to-back Ds, your daughter, Nurse Casey, came at me. You misspelled it. And I was like, well, hey, I looked it up. I always like to put my own spin on things. Thank you. From yesterday, congrats. And there was not a theory that explosive leaves toxic substances. Thus, deep excavation, clothes change, rapid detailing of car, Deo gratias. There was, and was there not a theory? No, of course there was. Seems to be all theater. Keep strong, Baron. We love you. Oh, we love you too. Thank you. Granddad is very high IQ. Oh, you've jumped just the solo D in the middle. Missing podcast last week, but very happy you and Mrs. C had time for yourself. Also, the heart for your grandchild is like loving your child again. Oh, very sweet. How did EK not know CK kept in touch with CO? That seems risky to me. Maybe he deleted the texts to not upset EK. That detail blew apart EK's plan. I don't know. I don't know what he did. Spell check says granddad. You spelled it gandad. That's a different word. That's like a wizard. Gandad sounds like a Timu wizard. Like Gandad shows up, but his staff is crooked and his hat kind of flops to the side and one side of his robe isn't long enough. You got some like thigh showing on the left. That's Gandad. I still love you too, Scooch. Congrats on your new grandbaby. Children are such a blessing. Best wishes for you and your family from Red River Valley. Ave Mater Dei. Where's Red River Valley? I look that up. Never heard of such. Red River Valley. Well, it's a song by Marty Robbins. I just learned that. Oh, here we go. A region in central North America drained by the Red River of the North. Oh, okay. Welcome from the Red River Valley. Welcome. Yeah. Being a grandparent is the best. Congratulations. Thank you. I agree. So far. I'm 2 days in, but it's amazing. Our politicians are owned by either China or Israel. I kind of agree with that. Big B. I maintain all lessons from Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood are applicable to high achieving men. If you have to go potty, stop and go right away. We have to pee too, man. Take a break. Ashley? This bladder's really well trained by now. Doing 3 or 4 hours at a time, multiple nights a week. We're good. I've had to pee since I kicked off. Like we're, what, 2 hours in? Has anyone considered maybe Israel had him killed and TPUSA stood idle, waiting to capitalize on the outcome they knew was coming? If so, who knew? Yes, it's crossed my mind, but I don't necessarily agree with it. Edge had dinner with Hastert many years ago at some Politico function. He was old, heavy, and gross. Can't even imagine any kind of intimacy. Ugh. That thought in our heads. Please tell our mama happy birthday. Her name is Linda, and she loves your show. From her grandkids, Jesus loves you. Mama, happy birthday. I hope it's been the most amazing day. Well, obviously it is. You're watching the show. Daily Fredo showed us today that the note Erica held up was a note Charlie made for reference going on Laura Ingram's show on Fox, and she played the clip showing Charlie saying those exact words. Yeah, we covered that last night. I didn't show the video, but in the comments, many, many people had chimed in and told us that. Probably like 10. So Fredo's great, by the way. If you're not watching Fredo's stuff, you're missing out. She does a good job. Superman, Batman, and now Coleman. Ooh, I like it. I need a logo on my chest. I got one. Congrats, Granddad. You're hitting all the notes for me these last few days. My sons, all 6, have been doing jujitsu for over 7 years. My daughter does too. It's great for self-defense. Christ is king indeed. I believe that. I believe that. Granddad or Granddad, if you want 2 Ds. Okay. I don't know. I don't get it, but okay. Congratulations, Granddad. My husband was diagnosed with cancer, and 23 days later, he passed away in my arms along with our 3 children. He was 56 years old. I'm so disgusted and saddened by Erica. Stacy, that's horrific. 23 days? That's not a long time to prepare. I mean, that'd be like, I'm just putting it, I'm not rubbing it into you, obviously, but I'm putting it in perspective to people. That'd be like being diagnosed today and being gone before mid-June. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry. I'm telling you, widows are the hardest on her. Congrats, Granddad, from Yaya. Greek for grandmother. Yaya. We love our own children from a place of provision and survival, but we love our grandchildren from a place of wisdom and patience. The love is not more, just different. I agree. Baron. South African politicians are corrupt, blatantly so. I'm not surprised by that. But something's very wrong when U.S. politicians start making our dimwits look good. When did the PDF in power become a thing? Great show. Christ is king. Indeed. Oh, excuse me. All this granddadding is catching up to me. When did it become a thing? I'm imagining a lot longer than we know. I think it's the ultimate sin. Like it's more sin than murder, I think. I really believe that. And I think it's been around a long time. As long as demons wanted to control people, it's been around. You can't open a bigger hole to someone's soul than that. First, congrats, Granddad, with 3 Ds. Congrats to the whole Coleman family. I wanted to say I was at Charlotte Motor Speedway over the weekend and saw Samantha Bush. That is a grieving widow, not what we see in Erica. I saw her on TV. Oh. That woman was broken. I mean, broken. That kid was broken too. His boy was broken. Buckle Buckle Swap Baron cannot be persuaded. That's correct. I can be persuaded, but I'm not changing my mind. Not on that issue. Oh, you are so correct on being a non-drinker. Alcohol makes me ill, and people still think I'm weird. Even lost friends because I don't drink anymore, but I've made friends that are so much better. I don't want to say I've lost friends, but I certainly don't see some people as much as I used to because I honestly think they think, what are we going to do? Sit around and drink water? Yeah. Yeah. We'll be very hydrated by the end of the night. We'll put some element in it, some baking soda. Oh, we're going to have the best water. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. I will say this, where Mrs. Coleman and I went this weekend. Now, I used to put away some Negronis back in the day. That was a backup drink. I either had, primarily when I went out, I either had a gin on the rocks with blue cheese stuffed olives or a Negroni. Depends on what kind of mood I was in. If I wanted something sweet or not. And they had a mock Negroni where I was. I was like, yeah, give it a try. It was great. It didn't have the heat of a Negroni, but other than that, it kind of tasted like one. I was a fan. If I ever go back there, I'll definitely get another one. But thank you. It's definitely 2Ds. Congratulations on the new precious princess. Yes, she's amazing. Missed you last week, Granddad. Congrats on 300,000 subs, 25-year anniversary, and most of all, becoming a Morphar. Please pray for my broken wrist, sprained knee. What, did you fall down, Judy? It's hard to break a wrist and a knee at the same time, unless you hit the deck. I pray for you. Stay upright. Estranged from alcoholic mom after decades of trying. When you say you're sober, it makes me happy for your family. Thank you, Deuce. That is your real name. Charlie Kirk's note found by Erica Kirk. Talk points you made a list of. Yes. Sad to see Charlie praising AI advancement in 910 foodie interview. Yeah. Duly noted on both of those. 5 of my kids, 2 of them don't talk to me. This is a weird, I'm telling you guys, like, I know a lot of people. I don't know any of them who don't talk to their parents. Unless they just don't talk to me about not talking to their parents. Maybe that's a thing. I don't know. This is weird. I think maybe the sale of Charlie's mansion and downgrade to the communal condo was for supervision control by the powers that be. Maybe the same with Johnson. Containment, circling the wagons. Christ is king indeed. I didn't think about that. I think it's weird he and his wife moved in with a roomie. So glad you're live, catching up from the UK. The United Kingdom. That's George Farmer's homeland. Granddad is common in American English. Granddad is the common in British English. So congratulations, Granddad, and God bless you and your wonderful family. Hey, you can spell it either way. I don't care. Countdown was for her Bible 365 app. I think that was already out, wasn't it? I don't know. Baron, shortly after Charlie's death, a guy claiming to be his childhood friend did a dark interview saying that Charlie messaged him that Erica wasn't who he thought she was. Did you ever see this? I cannot find it again. I did not see that. I've never heard of that. I would love to see that. If someone has it, will you email it to me? Dark interview in the subject line. Did you see the trolls on X coming after you in regard to CK's list last night? Charlie Kirk referenced the list on Laura Ingram show on 99 Christ is King. And I did not see them. I don't pay much attention to many trolls. I was married to a woman that I loved, and suddenly I found out everything about her was a lie. I tried for a bit to lie to myself about her until I couldn't take it anymore. Afterwards, I found out so many disturbing things about her I just didn't know. Scooch, brother. Assuming you're a man. I would love to hear more. Not that I want to like wallow in your sad story, but that's an interesting story. Make a good book. You ought to write a book. Write a book. Feel like CK found out money was being funneled to EK mom's company. I keep hearing that, but I don't know why people are saying that. Curious if Charlie's announcement of the Doge effort coincided with the last time he and EK were seen together in public. No, it doesn't coincide at all. Last seen in public, end of June, middle of June, June 13th, I think. Doge style effort was September 2nd, I believe. Logging on late, so you may have already covered. Oh, about the trolls in the Laura interview. Yeah. Over here on the ridge, we say mom, and pop. Much love. What ridge? What ridge? Thank you, just Jessica. Tell your mom, and pop. I said hello. 916 is an angel number. Number 9, endings, closure, spiritual growth. 1, new beginnings, leadership, independence. 6, balance, harmony. I think people overthink this number stuff, if I'm being honest. I'm not knocking people who get into it, but I think people way overthink the number stuff. Like every time something happens, they start looking at numbers. They're like, the guy died at 3:17 p.m. You know what that means, right? I'm like, no, I don't know. 3? Baron. I'm like, what? 3 what? 3 wise men? Yeah. 3, the Trinity, 3. Like, okay, what about 17? 17, number 1 and 7, you add them together, you get 8. You know what 8 means, right? I'm like, no, I don't. The number of dwarves? No, you idiot. That was 7. Talking about 8. Oh, the reindeer that pulled Santa's sleigh? No, you idiot. I mean, it's like, I can't keep up with all of it. I'm not making fun of you, joyful lady. I'm just saying, I think people like really dial into these numbers, and they really draw a lot out of them that may not be there. Joined late, please ignore if point made. The annoyingly high-pitched tone often used among evangelical baby boomers comes from idolizing Tammy Faye for 50 years. The kids idolize Granny and all sound like they need nasal spray. Speaking of nasal spray, did Allie Beth Stuckey ever get that Sudafed? I've recommended it to her. I'm not sure. I haven't watched her since that day. What are the other grandparents being called? Well, that's none of your business. I honestly don't know. All I know is grandma and granddad. So I'll update you if I find out. I'll ask. Part 2, I imagine Charlie couldn't take it anymore. I bet his heart and his love for the kids mattered more than we'll ever know. I also agree the problems with not drinking and people making you feel odd. Yeah. Scooch. I appreciate that. Yeah, you do feel odd. Your Majesty, Granddad, King B, it is a Heine backwards to preach about family and the value of a dad in the house and then be gone away from your home 300 days a year. Independent mom here. Son is 23 and a great young man. Them's tough words, Anna. Them's tough words about Charlie. I think to defend him here a little bit, I do believe he tried to get home as much as possible. I think that, it helped being rich and having a private plane, obviously. But I do think he tried to fly back home as much as possible. But yeah, he was gone a lot. There's no doubt about that. No doubt it. Corporal Justin Kane, Private First Class Victor Dew, Lance Corporal Joseph Rodewald, Lance Corporal Philip Vinedge, killed in action October 13, 2010 in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. Never forgot. Thank you, Maria, for sharing that. Thank you. Helium voice. Okay, talking about Mike Johnson's wife again. You're talking about Kelly. Kelly's fine. I'm going to feel bad if she had some sort of surgical procedure when she was a kid and they took half her vocal cords and this is all she can do. I'm going to feel terrible. I'll punish myself by talking this way for a long time, like a week. Every time I talk, it'll be this way. I'll pull up a comment and I'll say, us Illinoisans say there's Chicago and then there's Illinois. And it's 2 Ds. Granddad, congrats to you and yours. Oh, well. Thank you. Very kind of you. Illinoisans. Is that what you're called, Illinoisans? Illinoisites? Illinois and Illinoisanders? I'm not sure what you guys are called up there. I'll have to check that out. Do you think Charlie really didn't know about Erica's past? Perhaps she was trying to cover things up and realized she couldn't and then realized he had to be taken out, making her perhaps in on it. I can believe that he wouldn't have questioned much and she'd have just told him a story and he'd have just gone with it. Like I can see that. I don't know. Edge. Oh my gosh, I'm bawling. Stop with the daddy-daughter moment. How wonderful. I'm trying to mow the lawn here. I'm sorry to interrupt your lawn mowing. Maybe you got some grass pollen in your eyes. Maybe it wasn't me at all. Oh, I've gone way out of order. Love my holy mackerel shirt. Oh, thank you. I hate that EK stayed silent about Massey, but as ex-post about S. Pratt running for L.A. mayor. Oh, wait. He waved a flag of our greatest ally. Really? Didn't know that. That doesn't surprise me that she's going on about it. You just reminded me I need to check something. Hold, please. Hold, please. Nope, we're good. Yeah, we got some more merch I think we'll roll out in the next week or two. Nurse Casey's been on vacation. Southern Grace. Could they, Charlie Kirk referred to, be EK and Lori? Hope not. I mean, that'd be maybe. I'm betting there's nothing a mother like that wouldn't do to help her daughter. Congrats, granddad and fam. Maybe that's why they have her all dressed up like she's dying. I mean, maybe she is. I don't know. But like I saw a video of her not too terribly long ago. She was like walking around the grocery store. And then I saw that video of her like not in good shape in the nursing home or whatever. Not nursing home, whatever that was. My wife's name is Erica. I am Erica. Oh. Correct spelling. Love you, brother. Christ is king indeed. Oh, got you. I am Erica. Dear Baron, first, congratulations. Thank you. I will allow it. Second, have you been aware about the Jimmy Rex interview with the guy who paved the crime scene of Kirk on a weekend? Love from Germany. Christ is king. I'm guessing you didn't watch yesterday. So you told on yourself. It's like walking into class and be like, yo, teach. When are you going to cover chapter 2? And the professor's like, hey, yesterday was dedicated to chapter 2. Were you not here? Yesterday was dedicated to chapter 2. But that's okay. Okay. Go back and watch it. 1 year sober, Christ is king. Wachuca. Christ is king indeed. What's the Wachuca about? Wachuca. Congrats on 1 year sober. It's a big anniversary. I haven't seen my daughter since 21 due to X. She turns 18 soon. Please pray for reunification for my family. Pray every day for the peace of my soul. Goodness gracious, what a story. I'll pray for you. That's just very sad to me. I cannot imagine not seeing my teenage daughter. Congrats, Granddad Baron. Being a grandparent is so amazing. My son and daughter-in-law are expecting their second child any day. Such an exciting time. Thank you for all you do. God bless Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. Thank you indeed. It is pretty amazing. So far, again, I'm only 2 days in. Zarbucks. We got some Zarbucks. A lot of them. I don't know what a Zarbuck is worth, but thank you. You have great NC last night. Am I reading that right? NC? Oldest senior grad this year, and you made me see the pride in it instead of sadness. Hard to watch them get on up. Yeah. Watch them get on up. Grow on up, sure. Yes. I'm glad you could see the pride in it. I don't know what NC is, but thank you. I voted for MAGA, but got MIGA. Yeah, well. You and me both, kid. I voted for the guy 6 times. 3 primaries, 3 generals. Hey, Baron. I'm local to Scottsdale. It's alleged EK and CK moved full-time to condo for security reasons. Just FYI. They lived in a gated community in a mansion and had full-time security. I ain't buying it. Especially when Charlie would walk around the condo complex on his own and just sit outside and like look at the birds. I don't care where you're local to. That's bull butter. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Pete, now I'm not, let me go back to my friend here. I'm not saying you're bull butter. I'm saying the story you've heard is bull butter. Matches the color of your comment there. But I appreciate you sharing it. PT therapist is here, and I told her, hold please. Yeah, Moon Goddess, thank you. Tell her the show is on. I know it's early tonight, but that happens. Still trying to figure out how to write pay more. Oh, I don't know. There's a little slider button. That's how I do it. Sometimes I'll do like $63 because I can't get the slider to stop where I want it to. I'm like, yeah, whatever. You got robbed out of a more expensive comment because I wanted to give you more, but I couldn't get it to move. So we're going to start Granddad as a replacement for Baron. I vote use them interchangeably. Careful. Careful. That was harder to say. Both my daughters have cut off contact with me after going through college professors and counselors. Turn them against you. Satanic. It's the most painful thing I've ever been through. This is satanic. This is crazy. Guys, this is news to me. This is the first I'm hearing of this. Well, last night was. I'm from Alabama and his granddad. Thank you, Lo. From Chambers County. That's what I'm gonna guess the Chambers is. You're from Valley, Chambers County. My mom's parents were always grandmother and granddad. Grandmother preferred to be called mother by her children. Granddad basically went along with whatever made grandmother happy. Congrats. You know what's funny about that? It's not me knocking this person, but I worked with a guy, and he always referred to his mom as mother. And I'm not going to say his name, but I insert first name here. We'll call him Tim. I'm like, Tim, can I ask you a weird question? Yeah, what? Why do you call your mom mother? He's like, I don't know. What she want to be called? I was like, did you call her mother from like when you were like, when you skinned your knee and you were 2, you're like, mother. He's like, no. She sat my brother and me down one day and she was like, hey, no more mom. I'm mother now. And from that point on, we called her mother. And I had never heard of such. It was the very first person I ever encountered in my life that referred to his mom as mother. And now there's 2. Only 2 people I've ever met. Thank you. Hi, I would love to see you do a show about cancer. Ooh, be a tough one. I assume you're familiar with Paul Harvey segment. If I were the devil, might be nice to share it with the jury sometime. I am familiar with it. Something telling me, like, did I hear that wasn't real or something, or somebody did that? It was before the AI voices came around, I think. Now I'll check it out. It might be copyrighted. I might not be able to play it. On 3/22/25, while speaking at a church, EK said they were recently house hunting and she preferred the condo life. Calvary Chapel OC, YT, Heart Rooted in Trust at 122. Congrats to Granddad. Well, that's funny because as soon as he died, she's building a mansion. Yeah, she's building a big, allegedly. I don't want to say in my opinion because it's not my opinion, but it's just something I heard. If that's true, she didn't prefer the condo life. She preferred not living in that house with Charlie. Life. I know your granddad, but Papa Bear would really be cool. I mean, I get it. The bear, Baron. But I am not going to be called Papa Bear. Did not expect James Buchanan. What? Oh, that, yeah, Go back and look at it. Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin your life. I think it was James Buchanan. I need to go back and make sure that's right. I'm almost positive it was James Buchanan. I'll feel really bad if I got it wrong. Not that you can slander a dead guy. Yeah. As the nation's only lifelong bachelor president, his close relationship with Alabama Senator and later Vice President William Rufus King is frequently debated. Yeah. How about them apples? Morphar status unlocked. Congrats to you and your beautiful family. Your show brings people together. We got our mugs. Thank you. Can Nurse Casey make a purple sweatshirt without the hoodie option? Love ya. Christ is king indeed. I'm sure she can. She's listening. Nurse Casey. You're being asked for a crew neck. Purple. Math in the general in Massey's district supports a high-profile libertarian winning. He lost 10,000 votes, and the libertarians couldn't vote. They are 9,000. Dems agree with no draft. We need Joe Kent, Clint Russell, or Tucker to go run. Go to the fight. I like Clint Russell. Fine. I've never heard his name mentioned as a presidential candidate. Good for him, though. I'm in. I'll vote for you, Clint. I'll vote for you. I don't think Tucker or Kent would run. I could be wrong. Pray for my puppy. Not even 12 months and double surgery. Complications after both surgeries. Hospital stay since surgery. Brought her home for the weekend. Now looks like she injured her sciatic nerve further. Pray not permanent. That sounds like a rough start to a little pup's life. I hope she's doing better. I didn't know dogs had sciatic nerves. I think it makes sense. Congrats on the newest edition, Large Families, the absolute best. Wife and I are welcoming our 5th in October. 4 girls thus far. Christ is king indeed. Big families are the best. Or in my opinion. I've never been in another situation, so I don't know. Maybe small families are great too. I'm sure they are. Trying to be neutral here. Trying to be neutral. Hey, man, what's your thoughts on Stu Peters? I think you and him should collab in the future. I catch clips of him sometimes. I don't dislike him. I just don't watch a lot of him. But I do see clips of his. He seems like a nice guy. Advice, please. Hubs is quitting drinking. Was there anything Mrs. C did to support you? Christ is king. Only yell at me anytime. No. No. Not real. I mean, just be Mrs. C. She's fantastic. Amazing. I don't know. I can't think of anything. Good luck to you and your spouse. Hi, Granddad. This is the American spelling. You're right. Congrats on another blessing. Christ is king indeed. We love you and missed you last week. Oh, I loved you and missed you as well. Visiting my dad in the litter box state from Alaska, so I was transparent. LOL. SPF 10,000. Love you, B. 7 years clean. It's possible. That's amazing. Thank you for, what are you, Full Metal Asthmatic? That's funny. Thank you for the encouragement for those that are looking for the encouragement to stay sober for 7 years. The Alaska to Arizona thing. So I'm drawing this weird, I don't know if I've talked about this on air. I think I have. Baggage. Yeah, I did. I think I did a thing on the baggage plane crash. But the baggage plane crash, there was an allegation that people from Arizona might have been involved in planting a bomb, like a mob hit on the plane. And that's when you said Arizona and Alaska. That's the only 2 times I've ever heard a story where those states go together. Oh, I'm going to have to read some, what is this, Icelandic? I'm going to try it. Here we go. Gratulerer medden lille prinsessenen morfarbaren. How'd I do? Could you tell I wasn't practically local? Everyone in Iceland was just like, huh? Or Denmark or wherever that's from. Congratulations on the little princess, Granddad Baron. Love, light, and prayers from the north. The great north. OMG, ashamed to be from Washington. Yes, I told the therapist to please hold again. So could send super chat, and yes, still hating it. Yeah, well, your therapist will wait. She's not going anywhere. Hallmark says it's Granddad. You win. Who am I to argue with Hallmark? Is someone cutting their lawn, or am I being attacked by helicopter? I got to look. Sorry, I might be dying here any moment. There might be people rappelling through the window. Let's see here. No, I don't think they are. Deep dive into Aunt Lindsay. Ah, gosh, I can't believe I even said that. I just threw up in my mouth. I suspect Grandad Vitters also neglect Oxford comma. Oh, voters. Oh my gosh, please. If you don't respect the Oxford comma, I don't know if I can be your friend. That's how serious I am about the Oxford comma. Part of your job as an in-house lawyer is to edit a lot of documents. And other companies would send me their contracts and they would ask for red lines. And most people would redline like legal terms. I redlined Oxford commas all the way through. 16-page agreement. Buckle up, big boy. We're adding commas. It's a matter of precision. And I had people push back. I'm like, no, we're going to be precise. This is a contract. This isn't the New York Times. We're not trying to save column inches. We need to know, is this a run or is this a word? And then those two describe that word or incorporative of that word. We're doing commas. My mom married 6 times. I know whose fault it's been. Yeah, that was kind of the hard part. I didn't want to be the one to point it out. Kid was valedictorian, debater, got scholarship in LA. Good for you. Good for you. Good day, Baron. Family. That's the best I can do with the good day. Is that even close? If it's not, I apologize. I'm not trying to like make fun of your people. Stop. That's it. Just don't stop. May your glow become infectious. Oh. Edge is back for more. Only one Johnson with a Johnson. That's the difference between them and the Macrones. Love this podcast. Thank you. I love this comment. Very kind of you. I agree with you on spelling. Google Ingram says Granddad is the most common spelling. USA, Granddad in UK and Australia. The Commonwealth countries, ruining it for all of us. Gansod is a Temu wizard. Oh, Gandad. Yeah. Yeah, Temu wizard. Nailed it. My dad was in the room for my now 3-year-old, a very special memory for us. Mom has been gone 26 years. Bird looks just like her Grammy. Christ is king indeed. That's beautiful that you said that. About the baby looking like your mom. That's beautiful. Thank you. I was 13 when my family was evacuated from Beirut in 1967. My dad was a diplomat. Best experience of my lifetime, aside 4 kids and 16 grandkids. Beirut in 67. I'm assuming that's the 67 war. Family was evacuated from Beirut. So your whole family was over there with your dad being a diplomat. I bet that was a cool experience. May have been said already. But that, yeah, it's already been said. Thank you for that, though. EK was launching her new clothing line on 9/16. Do we have evidence of that? Or, I mean, I've heard people say that, but I'm looking for evidence, like something I can pull up on a screen and point to and say, see, here it is. Not just something someone said on X. This weekend, we witnessed what a grieving widow really looks like. We lost a great NASCAR driver, Kyle Busch. We did. And again, his wife was torn up. Not like drunk, like grieving. I thought House Speaker was Slim Shady from the start. Never makes eye contact while speaking. Darts his eyes about. Acts like he's shining people on. Doesn't come across as honest. Body language. Shining people on. I haven't heard that expression in years. Thank you. That made my day. Theory. Charlie caught EK. We don't need to entertain that without evidence. That's just how rumors get started. Kids Before Spouse was opposite what Charlie believed. Betrayal can change one's views. Why else has it been the AK show? The plane trip and tarmac hug. Yeah, well, now that you mentioned it. But we're not going to entertain it. Supporters need to know where the money comes from. Oh, please. In every nonprofit, as many serve vulnerable populations, boards need to step up, learn, and lead. Well, supporters, yeah, I think everybody needs to know. Sorry, I'm not a Joe for real. I meant Real Baron Podcast. That's okay. I let it go. I let it go. When I heard I can wash because of new shirt. Oh. Love you and Daisy. Love your sis for the crow shirts are my favorite. God bless you and Christ is King. I walked in, my mom got one. My own flesh and blood. My mother was wearing a crow shirt. Look good. Look good. Yes. You're allowed to clean when you get merchandise. You're allowed to bathe. Baron Mr. D, Wonder Dog stops, sits, hold please. I believe that. All these charities for APAC to donate under table. Yeah, that's kind of the question. Memorial Day honoring intention of our warriors. Military, law enforcement, those that fight the good fight for freedom. Thanks, Baron. Congratulations. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to send a first-time grandma email. You may share. You don't need to respond, but please read because I know I wasn't allowed to be there for number 1, but number 2 and 3 I was. I just wanted to share. Okay, blue-eyed hillbilly. I'll read. Have 2 kids that don't talk to me. Devastating. Trusting God and his timing. Christ is king indeed. Guys, this is weird. Like I'm telling you, it's just unheard. 48 hours ago, I didn't know this was a thing. I had no idea this was a thing. Congratulations, Granddad. So happy for you and family. It's simply the best. Y'all, please pray for my brother's wife, Kelly. Finally found a good man and married at age 40. Now he has metastatic cancer. It looks bad. We were crushed by shock and grief. Holy Toledo. That is awful. Age 40. Something's going on in the world, guys. This did not happen 20 years ago. Maybe occasionally, but not as often as I see it now. West Virginia, home of government hidden skies, shrouded in fog and underground cryptid bases. Oh, the Ridge. I didn't know y'all had underground cryptid bases. That's pretty dope. If I'm being honest. The government's going to do gangster stuff. It needs to be that. Saying if you lost your memory, you'd hope you'd be one of your last to go. Made me cry. I lost my dad in 24 and I often call out for him. Christ is king indeed. Golly, Shiloh. That's tough. I do. I hope it's one of my very last memories. Actually, I hope I don't lose my mind. But if I do. Bible 365 was started by Erica Kirk in 2016. Bible 365, also known as Bible in 365. Oh. Saw an interview with friend of CK. He said he was supposed to meet with CK at CK's request, as if CK needed help, but things kept happening to thwart the meeting that the friend was suspicious of. Anyone see it? I did not, but if anyone saw it, please email it to me. Apparently, Erica didn't watch all of Charlie's TV spots, or else she wouldn't have looked so bothered by the word loneliness. I think she'd take an interest in his appearances, no? To be fair, he was on TV a lot, and was for years. And so she was, again, full benefit of the doubt. It was just the day before. It's possible she just hadn't seen it. Possible she hadn't seen it. Hey, Grand B. What up, Grand B? I know you don't like chat making suggestions. Humor me. Mike Church, second longest running show on Sirius XM, 30-year radio man. Southern Catholic who loved Charlie Kirk and did his show from Amfest. He's old school talk radio. He said he's game. Game for what? Oh, coming on the show? Or me going on his show? I'll look at Mike Church. I'm only allowing it, Boise Jet guy, because you're a good commenter. A video EK posted on IG 6/15/25 was actually filmed in San Diego on 5/1/25. Another man was with them that day. Charlie Kirk locked eyes with the guy, and EK said, "I love you." Gigi was with them that day and was holding hands with other men when not being filmed. Odd. Huh? I'm looking that up for a specific reason. And I'm not going to tell you the reason right now. I don't even know how to find that. What day did you say she posted it? 6/15? Let's see. That's November. 6:15. Oh, it's before that. Okay, I'm getting closer. August 6th, getting closer. June 26th, getting very close. Warmer, warmer, warmer. 6:15, found it. All right, let's watch it together, shall we? Because I have a very keen interest in this comment after learning something that I've learned here recently. I'm not going to share what I've learned, but I do have a keen interest in this. Is the volume off? Yeah, good. I don't want to. It feels like I'm invading their privacy. What did you say? Another man was with them. CK locked eyes with the guy when EK said, "I love you." Gigi was with them that day, holding hands with other man when not being filmed. Odd. I don't know. Gosh, this feels so invasive. I need to watch this off air. Oh, that's the other man. That looks like a security guard. I don't see the kid holding hands with the other guy. I mean, oh, I see. There's the lock eyes. I'll have to watch it with sound. That feels so invasive. I don't know why. I know it's publicly posted on Instagram and he was a public figure and now she's a public figure. I get all that. Man, I don't know. It feels weird. Big cancer is caused from chronic inflammation. It's not mysterious. It's the American diet. Big food and big pharma. Try to buy something without seed oil at the grocery store. I buy lots of stuff without seed oil because I don't eat it if I can avoid it. Every now and then I will. Like these. This is a snack I eat that doesn't have seed oil. These are medjool dates. This is a kombucha, a healthy soda. Only 30 calories, no artificial sweeteners. And water. OMG, I almost forgot. Congrats, Scraps. Thank you, Vichy. Vichy? Like Vichy France? Are you a big fan or something? Thank you. Countdown 916 spiritually reflective campaign. I don't have evidence of that. Tagged you on X, Delta Dental, now a non-profit. I don't know what that means. And I don't look at my X tags. So, from high IQ humble host to low IQ Mickey Mouse wannabe with the raise of a few octaves. Made therapist head turn and eyebrows raised. Moon goddess? Tell your therapist I'm sorry. I'm 71. I've always exercised, thankfully. Got vacuum cleaner cord wrapped around my feet and went down. Broke right wrist and sprained right knee. Thanks. Called it. I knew you hit the deck as soon as you described that injury. I'm sorry to hear it, by the way. I'm by no means making light of you, but I that sounds like a fall that you tried to break. Sorry to hear that. I have 7. We all talk all the time. We get together as often as possible. They live in Charleston, New York, Oregon, and 4 points in between. I see my mom at least 4 days a week. Goodness gracious. That sounds like you live a blessed life there. 63, 33, and 30. Kidding. I'm sure that's related to a previous comment, but I don't know which one. Sorry for going Eric on there on you guys. That won't happen again. Going no contact is a new thing with the libs. Anyone who upsets you or offends you is cause for no contact. It's an epidemic. Younger Jen thinks it's fine. Is that true? The younger people are just bump fish, just cutting people off? Uh-oh, I've made a terrible mistake. Oh, there we go. Prayers and thanks to our military. My great uncle was at Normandy. His landing craft malfunctioned and he was late to the beach. He survived war. He smoked nonstop and died at 88. My granddad, his bro, died of cancer in his 70s. Oh. You're lucky, or he's lucky. His boat broke down, I guess. Thanks for sharing that. Granddad is more American, whereas granddad is more British. Either is acceptable. Congrats, Baron and family. Why did you or any podcaster care not to ask if the shirt was analyzed? Care not to ask if the shirt was analyzed. John Bray said it's gone or tainted at 234.10 of Black Line's vid with Mitch, who said the Vatican tells CO who he can talk to. Thoughts? I have no idea what you're talking about at the end. I'm a little offended. Let me teach you something about manners, young man. Don't come at me like that in the first sentence, because I have asked many times, where's the shirt? I suggested it had a hole in it, perhaps. And if it had a hole in it, that means he wasn't shot in the neck. I suggested it could possibly have some sort of residue left in it. I've asked where it was. Was it thrown away? I've suggested the defense team say if there's no shirt, they need a spoliation charge for the jury, suggesting the shirt could have been dispositive of exculpatory, exculpation. Don't come at me like that. You don't assume you've watched. I've done 117 shows. They average around 3 or 4 hours. How many of you watched? Apparently not all of them. Grandchild will call you what they want to. Anyway, there's so many more polite ways you can do this. Hey, Baron, have you asked about the t-shirt, whether it was analyzed? Here's what John Bray had to say about it. I said, yeah, we have talked about that, actually. And we pulled up John Bray's videos, and we showed the shirt going all different ways. And we showed the little green and red things he does. I mean, stop it. I am so amazed that people will just chime in on a podcast and just assault someone. Why haven't you done this, you loser? You or any other podcaster. Dial it back. Dial it back, big boy. Trump claimed to lose the 2020 election, but has nothing to prevent voter fraud in this country this time. Any thoughts on why? Thanks. I think they're trying to pass is it called the SAVE Act that they think will help elections? Guys, can we just be honest? They don't want to fix the elections. Everyone up there won a rigged election. Every one of them, including Trump, including the guy replacing Thomas Massie, all of them. If they're there, it's because an election either was rigged in their favor or would have been rigged in their favor if they were going to lose. So they have no interest in them. Longtime members seeking clarification on who George Webb is and what he does and for who. I'm confused. Congrats and blessings. Christ is king indeed. I'm not really sure about the for who. As far as what he does, I think he travels around with a camera and records little lives and podcasts and stuff. Who he is, he's just a social media commentator like a lot of other people. I know he has at times taken some swipes at your humble host, and that's fine. I don't care. I don't dislike George Webb. I've had very few interactions with him. They've all been pleasant. But some people take swipes sometimes, and then I'm a pretty forgiving guy. I'll let you vent, and then we can be friends again at the end. You're more than welcome to vent about me. That's fine. Sorry, should have said insight last night. Oh, and grow up. Super Chat does weird things. Sorry, should have said insight last night and grow up. Super Chat does weird things. Yeah. Sure does. Sure does. And it's scary to let them go off to college, and it's scary to let them go off to college. That's that Super Chat doing weird things again. Thoughts on Aunt Mary post EK made on Insta in a reel of photos with explanations for each picture. Isn't that Charlie's sis? Am I the only one that doesn't check Instagram ever? Unless someone points me to it. Now I got to get back on it again. I don't see an Aunt Mary post. I'll have to look at that. I don't want to take time trying to find it. Is it recent, I'm guessing? I'll have to find it. Oh, gosh. She's got that angry Italian server / B-movie assassin outfit on in one of her. I don't even. I got to turn that off. I can't do this. I can't do a show with you staring at me in that outfit. Woo! I don't know whether to order breadsticks or run for cover. Woo! Lord have mercy. Scared to let them go off to college. Yeah. I live in California and just saw the Greg Laurie of TPUSA Faith is backing Chad Bianco. Was my top choice for governor. Not sure who to vote for by now. Hey, look, man, pick your guy. I don't know anything about the governor there. I can assure you it doesn't matter because whoever the Republican is going to lose. So, yeah, back who you want to back. Don't worry about him. Thanks, Granddad, for the time you spend with us all in memory of all veterans. My Vietnam vet, Marine husband, passed on 4/1, preceded by his son, also a Marine, 2004, Iraq. Christ is king indeed. I'm sorry to hear about your loss. Yeah, thank you for your time that you spend with us. Spencer Cox and family run Centricom, build data centers, main UT contractors. Also, Mike Schultz, Speaker of the House, bought 640 acres by Box Elder Data Center, January 25, $10 and good and valuable consideration. Well, that doesn't mean that's what he paid. That's just something sometimes people say in legal documents. $10 and other good and valuable consideration. He could have paid any amount for that. But that's weird if that's true, if he bought a bunch of land knowing a data center was going to go there. I mean, assuming the information wasn't public. Now, as for your first statement, I don't know that. Is there a link to that? That'd be interesting if his family run a data center building business. Mr. Coleman, how many live episodes do you need to watch before I'm high IQ? Well, it depends on how bad your situation was when you started. I mean, were you Joe level, or are you a little like you kind of normal, or some of them pretty high IQ already? More specifically, hello from Denison, Texas, rather than the Red River Valley. Well, now that we've got that out of the way, I don't know the answer. 117 is a good start, and the member shows. Everyone grieves differently would have landed better had it not come from someone we expected to grieve. Oh gosh, good call, Salt Light AZ. The everyone grieves differently thing doesn't hit. I mean, I'm one of those people, I'll be the first to admit it. I cry weird when I'm in public because I don't want to cry. And so I like act weird trying to stop it. I know it. I can't fix it. I can't help it. I'm sorry. It happens. It's awkward. It probably makes people around me feel awkward. I can't help it. That said, and I know there's some people who awkwardly laugh in tragic situations. Like they awkwardly let off a little, it's because they don't know how to handle it. But you would expect over time to sense some measure of grieving at some point. And I don't think a lot of us do. And we pulled all our kids out of school 4 years ago after school counselor admitted telling students they had to go no contact with parents to accelerate in college. What? That is I believe you, but hard to believe. Bear now do the deep dive on that gate in this diabolical nightmare. You're the only chosen grandfather we have left. The problem with that gate is you got to be real cautious how you cover that. It'll shut you down. My daughter has lost 2 husbands to cancer over the past 10 years. Oh, you get your radon checked at that rate. That's tragic. I'm triple dipping in Smart Chat, and it's going to cost me, but RBP is worth it. I wouldn't pay for UC Berkeley. Kid was pressured or whatever to cut me off because of who I voted for. Heartbreaking. Guys, don't ever let politics come between your family. Just don't. Say, hey, we're not going to talk about it. Talk about other stuff. It was the 67 Arab-Israeli war. Yeah, that's what I thought. Also, yes, I'm a healthy, happy 72-year-old retired RN. My 3-year-old, now 44-year-old, got leukemia and then polio. Such a joy to be around. I did a book called Life Unpacked. You did write a book called Life Unpacked. That sounds interesting. RNMS in life coach. a big title. Therapist said, I'll allow it. I'm dying. Good. Your therapist, very high IQ. Very high IQ. Oh, hold on. Got out of order there. Dennis Prager regularly covered the topic on radio show of adult kids who cut off parents for political reasons. He discussed immorality of doing so. Hey, proving the old adage, even a blind hog can find an acorn. 3 grown kids, all married, 7 grands, 12 years, 100% estranged, all over their dad having major medical event and me caretaking 24/7 for 8 years before I cracked. Wow. And you're still joyful ladybug. That's good. I just went no contact with my parents due to 2 decades of abuse to my sister, and we just aren't accepting bad treatment anymore due to simply being family. Healthy relationships last. But yeah, I mean, abuse is one thing, but I mean, just they voted for somebody. That's totally different. Grandbaby has definitely ruined Baron rants. I can get mad. I can get back. Let that little girl cut her eyes at me one time and I'll be back, baby. Oxford, high IQ, intro to logic equals mandatory. Congrats, Granddad. Glad to have you back. Thank you. Glad to be back. Relapse today. Please keep me in your prayers. Lily, I'm praying for you right this very second, and I will continue to because I don't want you to relapse. 2 relapses on Memorial Day. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? It's hard. Got to avoid the situations that get yourself in that situation. You know what we're doing, Lily? Tomorrow? Starting over. And we're going to win this time. We're going to win. So tomorrow, wake up, get through breakfast, get through lunch, and get through dinner, and go to bed. Day 1 in the books. If you can do it one day, you can do it the rest of your life. One day at a time, my friends. Sober 3.5 years. I have some of the best supportive friends, 3 of them since high school. Never felt better. I make fun of people who give me crap for it. No, I've never felt better either. I can assure you that. Offer receipts. You said the case should be tossed if shirt is gone. No, I didn't say that. And asking where it's at. Next now, you know the huge. You know the a huge, yet you take it. I don't know what that means. Offer receipts. I did not say the case should be tossed. I said the jury should get a spoliation charge. It's totally different. What that means is a judge would tell the jury that the government has lost evidence that could be dispositive in favor of the defendant. And they're allowed to consider that if the evidence was there, that it would be dispositive for the defendant. I would ask for that. And I would jump up and down and make a giant deal of the fact that they lost the evidence in closing, even if I didn't get the charge. This man was murdered, and we're throwing evidence away, evidence of all the blood splatter, even if you don't believe but could be bullet holes in different locations, especially once the jury sees video of the shirt jumping all around. Okay, so there's that. I didn't say it should be tossed, asking where it's at. Next, how you know the a huge, yet you take it personally. I don't know what that part means. I wish I could help you on that one. I don't take things personally. I just don't like people assuming things. Progress, not perfection, my brother. See how I dropped the R there, my brother? I put an A there. There are numerous military documents detailing procedures for scraping and removing the top 6 to 12 inches of soil in areas where explosive materials or munitions residues are present. Well, that could be an explanation for why the FBI wanted it done by Monday. I don't know. I don't know why they care. That might not be it. Allegedly. Did you see Samantha Bush yesterday during the pre-race? I did. That to me is true grief. I agree. She was destroyed. No EK type of grieving. She cannot believe Kyle is gone. Up there teaching CK how to drive a race car. Christ is king indeed. Boy, I hope there aren't racetracks in heaven. I hope there aren't racetracks in heaven. If there are, I got to spend some more time on my racing simulator. I got a racing simulator and it's awesome. But I got to spend more time on it if I got an eternity to do it. I got to show. I can't embarrass myself when I show up. Leo called for AI disarmament. God bless you, Granddad. Christ is king. I sent that article to my wife. I don't know that disarmament's quite the right word. I did read through it. But yeah, Pope Leo came out hard on AI today, basically saying, y'all are trying to play God and it ain't cool. I think he called it a Tower of Babel. Remember what happened last time that happened? Hey, but Barrett, what do you think about Einstein being killed and almost 33 days after they arrested him? He died. Also, you're great. I don't think he's dead. Look, I will have egg all over my face if he's dead. I don't think he's dead. On the 6/15/25 EK IG video, Charlie Kirk asked Gigi, what have you done to deserve this doll? That's not how one speaks to his own daughter. Sadly, it's all a show. I don't know I think that's a stretch. I think that's a stretch. And I don't think it's a bad thing to explain to your children that, not everything's just handed to you in life, and sometimes you just have to earn stuff. I think there's anything wrong about that. Let me say something real quick about Memorial Day. There are two major holidays in the United States. I don't know how you guys handle it in the rest of the world. But here in the United States, there are two major holidays for members of the military. The first is major holidays. There are others, but the first is Veterans Day. And that's to everyone who served. And we're thankful for those who have served. I'm hard on foreign wars and the governments who propagate them, but I'm not at all hard on the men and women who sign up or the men and women who were drafted during the draft. I'm not hard at all on them because I don't think there's anything greater than wanting to protect those around you. And if you had no military, if no one signed up, it'd be very easy to take over a country. I mean, we live in an era of standing armies. For better or worse, that's where we are. And so on Veterans Day, we thank everyone who signed up or was drafted, put on the uniform, and did their best for themselves and for those around them. And then there's Memorial Day. And that's what we're celebrating today. I say celebrate. That's a tough word. That's what we're remembering today, those who lost their life in service, those who died. Jesus said, love has no greater man than this, a man willing to lay down his life for those around him. And that's essentially what happens on Memorial Day. We like to talk in terms of, they died for freedom and all this, and we can debate the merits of something like that. But what we can't debate is the tremendous courage and bravery it takes to look death in the eye and not run and to choose it and to say, hey, this is going to be a bad deal, but I got a job to do and there are people around me counting on me, and I'm going to do my job. And some of them don't make it out. They go down on boats. They go down on airplanes. They go down by gunfire, by explosion, any number of ways. And each and every death is tragic. Each and every death is honorable, though, in that situation. And so we do honor them today, and I hope you join me in honoring them, genuinely. It is a true day that we should set aside and at least spend some time at some point. I know we like to barbecue, and people go to the river, and they go to the lake, and they go to the beach. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not suggesting you shouldn't do those things. But I am suggesting at some point during the day, you stop and remember what their life was like, particularly at the very, very, very last moments of it. And we remember them. And we honor them. So I hope if you've not yet taken some time out of your day, as the day closes, it's now 7:35 God's time, 8:35 on the East Coast, and some other times west of here, 6:30 and 7:30, I guess, 6:30 and 5:30. Spend a few minutes in silence and just think about it. Just be thankful. And just remember them. Just remember, nobody's life should be lost in vain. Nobody's life should be lost without being remembered. Every life is valuable. So I hope you do that at some point. If you've not done it yet, I hope you do it tonight. Really sincerely reflect. Don't just say, thanks for all those who served. And it's not about those who served. It's about those who died. And don't just say, well, I'm sorry they died. My recommendation, you can do whatever you want, but spend a minute or two in sincere silence and just look at the wall or close your eyes and really think about it. I think you'll benefit from it. And, I would love to see no more foreign wars ever. I'd love to see a peaceful world. Probably unlikely. And there's a high likelihood in my lifetime there will be other men and women who die wearing the uniform of our great country. And it breaks my heart before it even happens. And I hate that this is the world we live in. Death, subjugation, and slavery is the history of humanity. And it continues on to this day. And I mentioned that I mentioned that I wouldn't be here, but for someone who passed away. I don't know if I've ever said this on air or not, but my grandmother was actually married to another man before she married my grandfather, who had my mother, who had me. And he passed away on a plane that was leaving the Philippines headed for Japan in 44 and died. And I actually took the time to look him up, and I looked up all the death records. Not because I knew him, I didn't. I knew his name. But because I wanted to know more about him. Because he honestly gave his life, and now I'm alive. And it's a weird feeling to realize that someone else's family had to suffer tremendous pain. Someone had to show up at his parents' door, at my grandmother's door. My grandmother had a 6-month-old. My uncle. She had to show up someone had to show up at their door and tell them, your husband's dead. Your kid is dead. I mean, had they not, I wouldn't be here. My kids wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have held my grandchild, my very first grandchild. I wouldn't have been able to hold her this weekend, but for that tragic moment. So life is weird. The world is weird. The world is very, very weird. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. I hope you do take just a moment. And for our overseas viewers, take a moment for your people. I know you may not have a formal Memorial Day set aside today, but it doesn't hurt to have a moment of silence, a moment of reflection, a moment of prayer for those who've given their life, those whose lives were taken from them. So anyway, thank you. Thank you. It's a wonderful time to remember as well that Jesus loves you. Each and every one of you, and all of those who passed, loves you dearly, more than you can ever know. As much love as you've ever had holding your baby or grandbaby, not even comparable. Not even comparable. It's not even close. I will be back one fashion or another tomorrow. Don't forget to like, subscribe, notifications, all that good stuff. It kind of feels weird saying that after talking about people who just died. But yeah, it helps. It does. It helps the distribution of the program quite a bit. And I'll be back. I don't know if it'll be a member show tomorrow, if it'll be a full show tomorrow afternoon or a member show earlier in the afternoon. I will let you guys know either by YouTube post or X post or both, some point mid-morning, which way it's going to go, if it helps you plan your day at all. And if I don't do a member show tomorrow, if I end up doing a full show tomorrow, I will do a member show Friday. So I'll give you one this week. It may actually be Friday because I think I want to track down one or two of these people that I'm trying to get in touch with and see if they want to do the show with me. In the meantime, though, guys, have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful rest of your holiday here. If you're in the United States, have a wonderful evening, afternoon, morning, wherever. If you're over in Australia or somewhere overseas. But I'll be back. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me.